Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new video. I know you guys have waited a while for this one, so I'm not going to take too long to talk here, but the reason why you haven't seen me in like a month is because I did not have access to my room for a month. I'm also not going to be sticking to a super consistent schedule as I have been anymore. I'm just going to make a video when I feel like it, because I feel like the videos are better when I feel like making a video versus like, okay, time to make a video. Maybe that will change. Probably not. Unless if something in my life radically changes in a good way. And if you could do me one favor, I'm going to do the YouTube shilling ad thing right now. I need you to smash that motherfucking like button and subscribe. All right, see you guys later. Enjoy the episode. Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new Toa Talk. I have a fantastic special guest today. Bionicle legend and well-known Twitch streamer Alexander Empyre. You may introduce yourself.
I promise not to say any Matoran slurs.
Think it's
that is all. Oh, never mind. Guess that cat's out of the bag. Right. Hi, I'm me. That's you basically. I mean, like, well known is generous of you, but that's as far as I could correct.
Hey, you're well known around these parts. People know who you are. But
yay.
Yeah, dude. I know, really enthusiastic about that one. What is your profession / or hobby?
Oh my gosh. Okay, let's see here. Profession. Boy, wouldn't it be nice to have one of those if you had a body that works. I don't have a body that works, so my profession is that I'm disabled. I'm professionally disabled. And you'd think that, that sounds ironic, but you'd be impressed how much government paperwork you have to like sift through and how many appointments you have to partake in, that there are basically the equivalent of meetings all the time just to get your benefits and whatnot going through the system. So it really has kind of felt like a job sometimes, but that's boring and annoying, and talking about the government is something anybody can do.
I'm baby, so it's all.
Oh, touche. Well,
no, that's that's a thing. No, I know some people have to go through that, and it's not fun, for sure.
Yeah.
But other than collecting your government check, what else do you do in your spare time?
Yeah, hobbies. That's the fun part. So I guess I kind of just like I make stuff, and that stuff tends to just change depending on what the day is or what needs doing, and trying to make it as cool as possible. And the biggest outlet that I have is predominantly like live streaming, and now I have a nice big old fancy setup to be able to do that semi interestingly.
Yeah, no, dude. When I booked the session with you, or we were in talks to do it, I watched your Zelda one, and I don't watch a lot of Twitch streams. It's funny because my friend, he was on a recent FaZe Clan stream under like a Guess the Virgin like segment. He got paid like $100 or something to be a part of it because
I swear he said Guess the Virgin. Did you say Guess the Virgin?
Yeah, I said that. I know this is a Bionicle podcast, but I don't care.
I was
just to give him some credit, he was not the virgin, but like he was supposed to be one of the imposters among them. And that was one of like the most like, I don't know. I had to watch like an hour up to that because we didn't know like when he was coming on to it.
right.
We keep putting him off, and it was just like, oh my god, like this is just so like, it's kind of boring, but it's also just like, I don't like any of these people's personalities. Like they're not like, I don't know. I'm just like, they're not really that.
Most live streaming content is really hard to get into.
It's just kind of douchey, like honestly, like what they were doing.
Yeah.
And then like a few days earlier, I was watching yours, and like I know I'm a little bit biased because like obviously I seen your stuff for a while, and I kind of, I know what your character kind of thing is. And
Eh.
I watched the whole thing. Like, I was just on my phone. I was like, hey, I'll put it on the background to see like what Alex or Alexander's doing. And then I was like, hey, this is actually pretty awesome. Like, I want to get into Zelda and all that. Like I have a few of the games. Like I actually do have. I bought an N64 right before I went to college, and then I went to college, so I couldn't play it. So I wanted to play the older ones before I got into the newer ones. But yeah, no, I found the whole thing entertaining. It was a fun little challenge. There were some shenanigans in the chat. Really good stream. No, I wish you had fucking 15K viewers instead of those guys. That would be cool.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have minded. At least it would have made it a little bit more profitable. But doing it for fun has its own significant value, I think.
Hey man, I don't know. You were making it creative. You're doing the whole workout thing. That was awesome. That was sick.
Yeah, been doing a couple more like of that capacity lately because there was the Zelda one, but before that I did that on Death Stranding. Before I did that, I did it in Elden Ring. Before I did that, I did Dark Souls. Before I did that, I did Bloodborne.
Well, for
and every single one of them
work for USPS, so
I guess so. But yeah, they were all like workout challenges in games, and those were fun. And then the most recent one that I got to do was I got 16 streamers all in one Titanfall 2 lobby, and it was absolute chaos. One of my favorite things I've ever done.
Yeah, Titan Cuck. Is that what it was?
Yeah. That was it.
Yeah, I was doing something that day, but I tuned in for 2 seconds, like, hey, they're doing their thing.
That's the beauty of streamers. You can just like look and go, oh, they're doing their thing, and then like nice, and then just go about your day. It's like posting something on Twitter, but for 6 hours.
Exactly. Yeah. No. Oh man, it's just like that. Well, it's like going into a PlayStation party and just having everyone watch you, or like have the option to watch you. So
yeah.
All right, to shift the gears a little bit here, we'll circle back at
the gears. The Bionicle gears. We're gonna hit the weapons on the ground.
This is why people watch the video, so we gotta accommodate to them.
Oh right, yes, of course. Tap into your nostalgia.
The nostalgia, never letting go, being a loser, all my favorite.
Everything my ex keeps telling me.
When/how did you get into Bionicle?
Oh. Wow, okay, these are the fun stories that like you never get to tell anybody. This is great. Okay, so once upon a time. So my dad was kind of was like a STEM parent, which I suddenly realized sounds like some sort of like surrogate parent. No, STEM parent as in like he was like of that like philosophy of like get your kids into pursuing inspiring educational stuff early. So he'd be the kind of guy that would like get us like toys that were requiring us to use our brain instead of just mindless throw you in front of the TV and just leave me alone kind of thing. Oh, okay. So naturally Legos was a part of that, where it's like, oh, they're building things. Good. Building things is good. Here, have a Lego. So I don't remember what like my first set was or anything like that in the Lego sphere. However, when Bionicle first came out, they were like the big kid stuff. But before that, there was the oh my gosh, I forget what it was called. It was really ugly. No, there was Throwbots, yes, but it was not related quite to Bionicle. It was like it's like the really ugly big model of like just a guy, and I think it had something to do with Mars. Yeah, that. So I mean, no, I didn't get Calidor, but the catch is that Calidor had like this aesthetic to it, and the aesthetic was like, that's for the big kids, for the cool guys. However, you can't have it because it's full of attitude, and attitude is wrong. It was kind of like if you play Pokemon, you're going to hell. So if you by Calidor, then you're a bad child. So naturally, we couldn't partake in the edgy stuff because the edgy stuff was full of attitude, and attitude was sin. Thank goodness, because I didn't want it anyways. But the thing is that Bionicle had like a very similar advertising energy to it, but it was more approachable because it wasn't human.
Mm.
um, and so let's see here. My first set was not actually the first year that Bionicle was out. It was when the Borok came out,
Mm.
because my dad was convinced that the Toa were the bad guys because they were the ones that looked like they had attitude, and the Borok were the good guys because they were the ones that were like synonymous in shape between all of them. They were
They were
organized.
literally in
So
Legion and they have fangs, though. Like, isn't that more dramatic? I don't know.
I I don't know. I don't know. I don't know his logic, but that's what he said. So he was like, I was trying to be like, which one should I get? Which one should I get? And he's like pointing at this one. It's like, that can't be the good guy. That has to be the good guy. You probably want that one. So I picked a Parrock. My first
Nice.
my first Bionicle was a Parrock. And I had quite fond memories on the playground of making kids bleed from Bionicle Borok battles, and like the whole thing where you play dirty, switch the fangs, yada yada yada.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. The
Yeah,
switching the fangs, that's a classic right there.
it's a classic play. The funny thing is, like, you got like kids that were like, oh, when I was young, I snuck my Game Boy into school and I traded Pokemon with my friends, but I couldn't let the teachers find out or they'd take my Game Boy away from me. It's like, nah, we just straight up had gang fights of Borok kicking the shit out of each other. It was great.
Hey, I had Borak bowling, man. We were a little bit more chill, but hey, the gang wars.
Bowling?
Yeah, dude, Borak bowling, because you throw them little bowling balls.
That makes so much more sense than what I did.
Hey, you're having fun. That's all that matters. No, that's cool.
I guess.
So, did you end up getting the Toa when they were still on shelves? Because I know, like back when they kept the sets around a little bit longer than what they usually do now.
Yes. So Pohatu was second. I
Nice.
don't know why. Like the brown ones were the ones that I got. Um, they're not my favorite, but they're my first. That sounds like you're someone who takes your V card.
Yeah, I was gonna
But
say that sounded a
yeah. They weren't my favorite, but they were my first. No, so the other catch was that like as soon as my parents found out that that when we got Bionicles, we liked them so much. I just got the like I got a couple of the Borok and the Toa just when they first came out. I think I got a couple Matoran too from either McDonald's or also the shelves. I don't remember, but the big time where I started getting like all the Bionicles was my dad got like a very new fancy job, and he was just like, Legos, they like Legos. Bionicles, they like Bionicles specifically. So they literally went to Walmart one Quithmith they took um and they literally took the entire, like, the whole thing of like taking your arm and just wrapping it behind the stalk and
Oh,
throwing it into the cart.
yeah, yeah, I know that. Yeah.
We had one Christmas that consisted of almost entirely Bionicle, which we have on tape somewhere, where I was just sitting there screaming over every single time that I would get like a duplicate, like, yes, it's another Onu
Hey,
Anuva.
that's a good way to
So
get into mock. I was
yeah.
one of those kids that was like, "Oh, I only have like one Aliska. I don't want to tear him apart because I'm gonna lose his pieces and I'm not gonna be able to make him again." I was that type of kid.
Oh no, I was that type of kid for a little while, but like Lua is my favorite. And
Lua.
I was like that with Lua, where it's like, don't touch my Lua. My Lua is my favorite. Lua is my boy. And there was another kid on the play. So church picnic. I don't remember exactly the context, but I was in a playground with another kid named Alex. Except for this Alex was the biggest brat in the world.
Liquid
I got to the
Alex.
point where liquid, yes, exactly. It got to the point where I got so mad at him that I would just steal his Legos because I hated him. But but the worst part is that they weren't his. They were his dad's sets from like vintage Lego sets, and I was taking them from like you remember like the Knights, not the Knights Kingdom, the whatever was before that, like the first Lego Knights.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Oops,
yeah. Oops.
they're worth a lot of money now. So that was the thing. But yeah, he straight up I left my Lua on a gazebo for like 5 seconds to go and like get something, and then I came back to see that he was literally smashing my Lua into the ground. The Miru was cracked.
Oh.
I'm like, you demon child, how could you do this to me? So getting all the Toa Nuva like in duplication was a nice change of pace.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, jeez. Damn, he was smashing your Lua? That's not cool. Why would you do
I don't
that?
even know what kind of kid does that. Right. Okay. Okay. To be fair, if I was like, in a place where it was normal for people to have gang fights with Borak growing up, I guess it's normal to also
Yeah,
have
some
kids that would just
cartel art activities, right?
yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So I guess maybe it's normal from where I come from, but damn, demon child, I hated him. I kind of sometimes want to just like go back in time and just break the lights out of that boy before he grew up. I'm sure he's a great guy now.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
watch him be like curing cancer and stuff now, and he's like, I'm still gonna go back.
You broke my Bionicle. No cancer solving for you.
Who knows? The future might be better for it, though, or it might be worse.
I wish him the best, and I'll be optimistic and say that he's grown as a person.
Well, yeah. So that's the way of the Bionicle.
Victory of the Bannister. Metataraka beat him over the head like in the Mask of Light movie.
Yeah, smack him over the head.
You should be ashamed of yourself.
These little demon shot, little rocks, you gonna bash his little head in with the fucking Vakama staff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Beast.
You wild beast.
that wasn't bad. What's your favorite year of Bionicle?
Oh boy.
Yeah, you can always say like your top 3 or 2 if you can't say 1.
I could just tell you the ones that I didn't like.
Okay, tell me
Those are
the
the only ones
like.
that come to mind.
Okay, tell me what
I
you
didn't. The only one that comes to mind that like stands out, because there was like plus and minuses with all of them that I really enjoyed, but the only one that I didn't really like was the Anika series. But mostly because I didn't read the books. Because everybody, like the whole shtick is like that's when the story got like at its best, but that's also when I would argue the sets got at its worst. Adding teeth, no, it's just I can't. Mouths, the whole organic thing. I know that it's like relevant to the story, and I appreciate how like that was actually a really well thought out concept, but it's just ugly.
Yeah, yeah. And that's specifically for the Nika, right? Not just for not including the Paraka, or throwing the Paraka.
But yeah, the Ignika, the Paraka, the Matoran, yeah, that whole entire like all of it. I'm just like toss those sets in the dumpster. I'm out. Well, it's like I like just stopped getting into Bionicle for a while when the Hordika just came out, and like I don't remember which Hordika was like my last set for a hot minute, but it was one of the last Hordika. And then I was just kind of like, I'm growing up as a person now. And then the Anika came out, and I'm like, oh, that's disgusting. And then the Mari came out, and I'm like, I want to go back.
You're a Mari guy.
I'm a Mari guy. I'm a Gen 1. Okay, I'm a slut for Gen 1.
Oh, yeah. Anyone that's like, oh, I like G2 better, like, dude, you're a fake fan. Get out of here. Fake fan.
Oh, sorry. I meant I'm a slut for like Mata. I'm a slut for 2001.
Oh yeah. Well, no,
I
this
said,
episode lines up
so
well. That's
yeah, sometimes I totally forget that like Gen 1 and Gen 2 are labeled as Gen 1 and Gen 2 because the way that I would label like all the different years of Bionicle were through generations where it's like the Mari or what,
yeah.
like the seventh generation.
I think I did hear people like say that like here and there like very very casually. It wasn't ever like a staple like biotube or something, but like
I don't
I
know.
swear some people might have done that because like Transformers I think kind of did that a little bit. I'm not like a
Oh,
huge I'm not into like Transformers, so I don't like know, but like I'm a casual outsider that enjoys things here and there. It's like, yeah, well, we call it something Gen 1. I don't know. I guess they were trying to, I don't know. Anyway, I'm good. That's a tangent. That's a boring tangent. We're on
oh
to
no.
the boring
No,
tangents. So.
hold up. It's not an entirely boring tangent. Have you seen those like I'm going to turn into a truck now
Oh, of
memes?
course. Yeah, I know.
God, they're so beautiful.
I am.
Remember, Sam, it is better to come in the shit than to shit in the cum. I'm going to turn into a truck now. Beep, beep, borp, borp, boop, boop.
I love all the favorite freaking memes. Uh,
Oh, so good.
no, very, very good. Epic. What's your favorite set, Low? Top
My
two.
um top 10. Well, I guess like
Top
what
two.
really always matters is the ones that comes to mind rather than like the ones that I enjoyed the most. Because I'm sure if I like look through all the sets, I'd be like, wait a minute, that one was great. But the ones that like have like instant memory are Lua, because such yeah, Lua's my boy,
Yeah, yeah.
my dumb brick man. I love him.
Do you still have that sealed one?
I do, yes. And Jesus, don't look up how much it's worth on eBay.
Oh, yeah. Don't remind me.
Don't. Yeah, I mean, like I was lucky enough to get it when nobody cared. Like in that little downtime when G2 died, that everyone was just kind of like, ah, whatever.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. I got some good
Yeah.
pulls out of that era. I have most of them
Yeah,
still
same.
because of that.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
I
also
never got
have
the emotes, but like I have them. I have.
oh, nice. I also have Levok sealed as well now.
Ooh,
A friend of mine gave me that.
that's cool.
Second set would be the Motunui from Glatorian era. That I
Oh yeah.
actually really like that one too.
I
Mostly
quite like that
because it
design.
like yeah, the my favorite part about it was that like one, I just felt like it was quintessential return to Bionicle aesthetic, yum yum. But then also the the use of making it so that the shield was like incomplete from what it looked like in the movie to make it so that it like always would inspire you to add on the part that's missing was also something that I felt like what made Bionicle cool is always like adding that aspect of like it needs one more thing and then it's perfect.
Yeah, yeah. I've been doing that a lot. That's pretty much that summarizes like my whole mock page. Like it's just like a lot of like revamping,
Ah yeah.
like all that, all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, but that Clitorium Matanui design is really, really good. I made a slightly modified version that makes it proportional with like the Metru head Ignika. That's probably my more
Oh
personal
cool.
thing. But yeah, no, I'll send that to you while we're still talking or maybe after, just whatever my hands get free. But yeah, that's no,
Nice.
that's cool. That's cool. I think we kind of is your favorite canon character Lua? Or is it another?
No, my
Oh,
favorite canon
okay.
character is Lua.
Okay.
No, he's absolutely hands. Okay, second favorite
Second
character
favorite
though
character.
is Domek. Nobody knows who Domek is, and Domek is the most beautiful Onu Matoran boy ever. He's black and purple. He has a Miru as well. He's
Oh,
gorgeous.
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
will
yeah.
simp for him.
I
Delicious
have
little
him.
boy.
I made one of him actually with my Tahunga collection up in my attic. So he's sitting there.
Hell yeah.
It's got 3D printed masks, so it's just sitting there.
Nice.
Yeah, yeah, dude. I resin print all my stuff now, but like I got a purple mirror back when Shape Boys would do Shape Boys stuff. They don't do Shape Boys stuff anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, they were cool.
They were cool. Yeah. I think they just went out of business. I checked the website today because I was looking at like an old review of a mask and I was like, oh, that's kind of a cool design. I wonder who made that. And then I looked at the Shapeways page and it's just like all the catalogs are just gone. You can only do like personal commissions now or something like that. It's like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, that's crazy. All right. Well, we will get into the retrospective segment now. So Bionicle 2001, Alexander's favorite year of Bionicle, coincidentally. So
Ha!
that the marketing of that year, I don't think I've ever seen anything even close when it comes to like any other Lego theme, let alone
Yeah.
year. Like they kind of like tap
Yeah.
into things here and there. It's like, oh, you can collect the Krana with the Borak, you can collect the Krana Cal with the Borak Cal. You can collect the Karata, the little worm things. But like,
Mhm.
yeah, they were like, yeah, you can collect the Kanoka discs. It's like no one cares about Kanoka discs. Give us masks, and then they never did that. So yeah, like
Oh,
that.
I like the Kanoka discs.
Oh man, that's a hot take. I think they're fine. It's like well, they're totally different because they have an extra little like loading bar on them, and that's basically like the only difference aside from the
Yeah.
number, I should say.
Actually, you know what? To be fair, if I were to choose between Kanohi and Kanoka discs, I'd also choose the masks.
Oh
So,
yeah,
you know, that's fair.
yeah,
This
definitely.
makes sense.
I got the rare Kanoka that says number 69 on it. So who's really winning?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was kind of fun to have like something so insignificant in the discs. Like all you cared about was the number on it. And you'd be like, oh, I got the double died.
That was like a kid thing for sure. Because like there'd be
Hmm.
I don't know if you guys had that where you are, but I guess like at some grocery stores, like this is probably an urban myth because I've never seen any actual proof of it. But my dumb friend in elementary school, he was like, if you flip up the sides, open on the juice box, and if you have this certain pattern, you can go to the grocery store and get a prize. I'm like, what are you talking about? So,
What?
so it kind of reminded me of that. Like, I was like, yeah, the different number kind of thing. Of course, there was like other kind of thingies, but yeah, that was. I did not think of
Makes
that.
sense.
It's like, yeah, you open the flaps, you have the same colors on both sides, and you go get a prize. And I've never
Yeah.
heard anyone get a prize, so it probably didn't exist.
I thought you were going to say something like, you are the 9,000th customer. Your
Oh,
groceries are free.
yeah, that would be cool. That like it'd be like Willy Wonka or Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. You know, I got the golden ticket,
Yeah.
golden juice box. You know, I get all my
Yeah.
for life. That would be cool. But yeah, no, like so,
Yeah.
like yeah, that was definitely like a kid kind of niche thing. But yeah, obviously you're like, okay, do I want like a cool mask that's like dual molded, or do I want like a
Mhm.
disc with like a different number on it? Eh,
Yeah, they
yeah,
were priorities and they were fair.
yeah, yeah.
Maybe I only like the discs because I didn't like, maybe I got enough masks that I was satisfied from the big haul that one Christmas.
Oh, that's
But the
true too.
discs I'd never got enough of.
I think I would like the discs more if we also had other things as well to collect. You
Yeah.
know, like I think I would be more like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, that's kind of cool, you know, a little extra bonus thing. But it's just like that's the only thing.
Yeah.
You know. But yeah, we also had. I mean, again, I wouldn't remember this because I only got into Bionicle like 5 years later. But like, there was
Mm.
those McDonald's toys that were like actual Lego. Like that's insane. Like they would
Hmm.
never do
My
that now.
mom, yeah, my mom, at one point a couple years ago, got me all of the McDonald's Bionicle sets sealed.
Oh wow.
And the funniest part is that she had no idea what she got. Where she's like, "Oh, did you get to open up your toys?" And I'm like, "Mom, what? No, you don't know what you gave me, did you?"
How did she get them? Like through eBay or something? Or?
I I assume I mean like I don't know if she like found them lucky or like as a deal or something, or she just didn't look at the price, or if she's just like, oh yeah, it makes sense to have these sets this expensive. We bought Legos for our kids before. I don't know what the logic was, but yeah, it is the full set of all the Matoran from the McDonald's days. I'm like, I didn't have these as a kid. This is a slurp.
Slur. Yeah, no, that's cool. That's cool. But yeah,
Yeah.
no, like it's probably like my favorite Matoran like look. Like obviously like the '03 Matoran gave them a little bit more
Mm.
posability. You know, you can play like the lacrosse, hockey, soccer kind of thing with the Coley going on.
Mhm.
But before they would just kick a rock, and then that was what they would do. But like yeah, like the disc drawing
A rock.
motion was nice. But like if you try to do that
Yeah.
now, like the arms would just snap clean off. Like just don't do that. Just don't please don't do that. They will break.
Yeah. 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 Some of the plastic kind of aged like milk, which is weird. You think like plastic lasts forever, but then like plastic when we were younger turns out it like just dies.
Yeah, yeah, I know. That's funny. Like, well, now we have microplastics in our blood system, so I guess they evolved somehow. But like,
Ah.
yeah, fair trade off. So it's long lasting somewhere else. But yeah, no, you got.
There you go.
All those little, and they actually had canon significance too. Like, of course, like they got more important as the story went on. But like, yeah, like they were like big players in like the web game, the Minog, like. Yeah, Jala, he was the McDonald's color scheme dude, and then you had
Yeah.
Nookie, who was like, "I have coronavirus. Don't come into my room." Like,
One of these days, I really want to get my fiance to play that game. I don't know when
oh,
the time will happen, but
it's
my
not that long.
goodness, I've been yeah, it's just a nice short little time, but one day I've like threatened her with like we're playing this one day. She's like, "Okay." Like you don't understand.
Yeah, like it's a cute little game, like it's like I don't know if I got someone into Bionicle, I'd be like, okay, the first thing you should do story wise, you don't like you should read the books, but if you don't want to do that first, just play the game. That's a good entry
Yeah.
level point. It's just perfect. Like it's you get to know the whole
Yeah.
island, you get to know everybody on it. You kind of get to know their personalities a little bit. The Toa are all cool and mysterious. They're very
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, love that, love that. They also gave
I was
CD-ROMs. Sorry, go
infuriated.
ahead. You go ahead. You go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was infuriated with so I played that game when it was like getting first released and the fact that they released Monog episodically drove me insane
Oh yeah, I
because
forgot they did that. Yeah.
I couldn't like that thing of just like but also not only that but there turns out that there was like a game breaking bug where if you gave the sales guy in Powahi an item that I don't remember what it was, but it would completely break the game. Your progress is gone. Start from the beginning.
What do you
Have fun.
so so you would give Akmu something and he would break your whole game.
No, it wasn't Akmau. It was I don't it was the guy that was selling like souvenirs, like the
Oh
statues and all that.
yeah.
Yeah, him. If you gave him something, then the game would just break. And me and my brother literally, I think, cried when we just couldn't continue. And because when you're younger, that was like trying to figure things out was impossible.
Yeah. Oh, dude. Yeah. No, totally. No, I've had similar
Yeah.
experiences. I definitely feel that. No, for 100%, 100%. Did you ever get any of those like CD-ROMs that would come with like some of the Toamata?
I got the ones for the Rockshi, I think.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. They had those too. That's
Yeah,
right. Yeah. Yeah.
but not the Mata ones now.
Yeah. No, like those were kind of interesting. Um. Yeah. I've never actually. I don't have one. I know what contents they have on it. Like it's a cool little thing, but like it's kind of funny that a Lego set would actually give you that. Even back when,
Yeah.
like more of a
I
now
always
thing.
thought yeah, it would be kind of like one of those things of like I don't know how to explain it, but like the whole theme of like this is the big boy toy, but the big boy toy would have all this esoteric information that didn't mean anything but felt like it meant something where you'd see a picture from the CD and you'd see like a 3D render and then you'd see a little animation and all of those felt like they were pointing towards something that was bigger and more important and it just made you go like, "Oh, I'm part of something."
Yeah, yeah. No, like that was definitely like what those first few years had, and they kind of revisited that a little
Yeah.
bit later, and like, yeah, I don't know, because as someone that like kind of went back to catch up, I don't know, like even if you were like a few years too late, you could still go back because of like the internet, right? And like catch up on it.
Yeah.
So it was kind of cool to be in on it for at least like not as long as you guys were in on it, but like yeah, no, I don't know. It's cool. Like it's again something you'll probably never see again from Lego, unfortunately. But yeah, that was really really cool.
From anywhere, I think.
Oh yeah, well, I don't know, that's kind of like the other thing too. It's like, usually when I get older, like I look at like IPs that I liked as a kid. I'm just like, okay, so like this thing obviously took inspiration from this thing and that thing to make this thing.
Mm.
I can't really pin things with Bionicle as like, okay, that clearly inspired Bionicle. You know, like it's like it's literally like its own thing, like straight out the gate, and not many
Uh-huh.
things have that. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know, cause like, yeah, no, I'll just move on from there. But yeah, those commercials.
Oh, hold on. Those were beautiful. That because did you know that like the commercials were like inspired by like Dutch folklore?
Oh yeah, I was gonna get into the commercials actually, but yeah, I didn't know that Dutch folklore. So how does that actually tie into that?
Okay, so this is we so you know like the guy that or the two guys that made Bionicle. There's kind of like the one that was uh the guy that was behind the story, and then there was the guy that was behind the world,
Okay,
and
there's
the
favor
then and then I guess
story.
there was the yeah, and then I guess there was the guy behind the designs, but he makes acorn people now. He's really
Oh,
cool. Um, yeah. Oh my gosh, if you've never seen them, they're the guy that actually like made the sets and then like tested them for kids and whatnot. The guy that was like the inspiration behind the actual mechanics and whatnot. He actually like takes nature photography of these little acorn people that he makes and then waits for like birds and squirrels and whatnot to get into the perfect position where they're all capturing like this really heartfelt moment. They're
I've
very
actually
sweet.
seen those. Yeah, I didn't know that. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's cool. Ah,
Yeah.
that's
He's the guy behind the Bionicle sets in like 2001.
that's insane. Like, I would have never made that connection unless if I like, I don't know, look through Wikipedia or something like that. Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that kind of explains a
Yeah.
lot of the vibe because that's just, I don't know. Again, you just look at like the promotional material. They're just like, in like the
Yeah.
desert, and they're just like, "Hey, yo, I'm a Bionicle."
Yeah, pretty, but that's where the Dutch folklore comes in because like okay, so it's not like a one-to-one Dutch folklore. There was a story about a guy that had an axe and he swung on vines in the jungle. No. It has like how do you explain it? There in Eastern Europe in general, in that general vicinity of the world, there's a very specific um what I like to call cultural maturity, I suppose,
Okay.
where there's like roots that are so deep in the way that everyday life now is still like in touch with everyday life several hundreds of years ago. And there's like a consistent connection in that both like with the stories that they publish, the language that they speak, and the buildings that are still around. And it all kind of like points towards this, I guess I'll use the word esoteric again, this esoteric vibe that makes it so that the whole, whatever you call it, the whole atmosphere of the commercials and whatnot and the animations and all those things from like the early Bionicle era all kind of gravitated towards this, so I guess darker tone, but also ambiguous tone. And in a culture like that, that sort of circumstance makes perfect sense. But literally everywhere else in the world who's never seen anything like that, it's like something new and fresh and beautiful. And I just think that's cool.
Yeah, no, that's really really cool actually. Yeah, no, I didn't know any of this. Is all news to me. Like I thought I've unraveled the entire picture, but clearly not yet. That's really cool. That's sick.
Yeah. Oh, I see your Motanui. That's good. That's cool.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's not like it doesn't. Okay, to be fair, to give the design, the original set a lot of credit, it's not really that different. But like, yeah, just a few little tweaks here and
Yeah.
there. I probably should have chose better feet, but like, yeah, no, it can
No,
work.
I see it.
You see it? You see it? Okay, okay.
Yeah, I see it. I see it. I understand the vibe. I think the feet work out all right.
All right, sweet, sweet. I got the Alexander Empire approval in a mock. That's epic. But yeah.
Congratulations.
Oh yeah, no. My life is complete. My meaningless life. Yeah. But yeah, no. Yeah. Like I said earlier, that it can work. Just a few little tweaks here and there. But yeah, no. It. I.
Yeah.
That's like if I had to complain, if I can only change one thing about '09, it would just be that. Just give us the give us the Ignica in an obtainable set, that because even the 8-year-old me, it's like, I can't get this set. It's too expensive for my 8-year-old income. I can't do that. I can get
Yeah.
the low.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway. But yeah, no. But the sets themselves, now they had full-on canisters. I have all the canisters on my little shelf right here. Again, the fact
Cool.
you can tell a little story with the canisters. You can move them around. You got the cool little wrapping on it. Like, that's, again, I don't know why they went so crazy on everything. Like, not just like like the Lego itself or like the story. It's just like down to the box. Like, you can use the box lid as a suva. You can put heads on it. If you didn't know what it was in the story, you'd be like, okay, well, I guess I can just collect my enemies' heads and put them on it now. But like, yeah, it's, I don't know, it's really really
Yep.
cool. I remember being a kid being like, I need the box for these. But like, yeah, I got them
Yeah.
now as adult with adult money, or I guess I was a teenager with teenage money.
I
But
don't
like,
yeah.
yeah, but yeah, no, like even just something as simple as that, they went crazy on. Of course, the
Yeah.
original Kanohi designs are like, you can't really beat them. Like, they're just fantastic.
Yeah, they're really impressive.
Yeah, they're really really good. They hit the nail on the head like right off the bat. And
Yeah.
yeah, no, like, the Toba, like, it's funny, like, some people are like, they're clones. I'm like, no, they got enough personality, and just from their build alone to say that they're not like
Mm.
clone sets. I don't know why people do that. Some people kind of like, I don't know. Some people poop on Lamada, and I don't understand that. I'm like, do you have no friends? Why do you do that? But like, they do that.
I don't know. I mean, like it's a I guess it's I can understand how it's an acquired taste where differentiation is supposed to be this grand. I would argue that it's kind of like an otaku sort of thing where differences should be massive in order to express, uh uh separations of character. But
Yeah,
also I would argue that like most anime looks like the exact same 10 actors that are playing different parts.
yeah,
So I'm
like,
just kind of like, I don't know about that, man. But I mean, I do also feel like that tends to be a massive because I've also I didn't grow up with anime, but I also discovered that like a lot of anime fans would gravitate towards Bionicle with their own like perspectives on how Bionicle should be interpreted based off of their like um uh perspectives that were generated for anime. And I'm just kind of looking at that like eh, no,
so that's why so
it's
many
its own
Dolly
thing.
remixes I see have big Nuva boobs for no reason.
Yeah, that actually probably is a definite contributor.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, like G2 kind of did that a little bit. Like, they made Onua super big, and then like,
Yeah.
they kind of, now that I think about it more, they weren't that different from each other really, aside from Onua. But like, it kind of worked, but it kind of didn't. But like, it was like, yeah, it was like, yeah. But like,
Yeah. I think that,
it's
yeah,
cool.
sometimes separation in character works and sometimes similarity in character works. And I think that, like, uh, a lot of like narratively, it would make sense if if like the motto were very unanimous. And then it would also make sense narratively if like the Glatorian or the Mari were very different. So I'm just kind of like, everything has its place, so I think it matters more to like observe the perspective of the situation rather than just I don't like it because it looks the same.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think, like, I can see people have that complaint with like the Metru. Like, even though I actually quite like the Metru, like, it's just,
Mm.
again, I could see why people would complain about that with them, or even like the Nika, for instance. But like, I don't know. I feel like especially looking at like Pohatu and Onua. I know like the only difference of Onua is that he's more hunched. But like, again, Pohatu is
Mm.
a good example of like what you can do with that build. Does it look
Mhm.
really appealing to some people? It's up to opinion. But I think he
Bruh,
looks
those
good.
hips.
He got the big hips, big booty.
Man got the hips. Probably got thunder thighs, could crush a man. Absolute. You know that every femboy on the planet is like, Pohatu is my
Stop.
dude.
No. Bionicle slash R34. No.
It exists and it hurts me.
Yeah, don't like that. Not a fan of that.
Yeah.
That's not good.
Actually, you know what? Okay, just because out of sheer curiosity. So as also somebody who is a vagrant disagreeer with Rule 34ing Bionicle, specifically because like
Oh shit. Okay.
of hold on. Oh, well, we'll keep it
No,
PG.
I'm joking.
But
Yeah, I don't care.
but
I don't care.
yeah, there's a like the whole so like as the whole entire way that like affection is expressed in the series made me kind of like feel like Rule 34ing Bionicles in particular was like a bastardization of the take that they took on relationships that became more than just platonic within the series, or dare I say, hinted at because love is not canon, but whatever.
Greg Farshy be like, I'm
Yeah,
gonna reflect my love life in my writing.
yeah. So that kind of shtick. So it's but there are still some people that will like live and die for that stuff, no matter what. If it's a girl in a series, it must be looted. But like they made it such an effort where the girls in Bionicle were I don't know, very respectable girls and women. So
They were
so
strong
as
female
far as
characters that weren't. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So like as far as like the 34 shenanigans, like do you think that that got inspired just because, horny boys are horny boys, or do you think that there was actually something that was about those characters that made them other than Sidorak or Rudaka,
Oh
other than
man,
Rudaka?
they have such nice
Because yeah, that was an
personalities.
awakening for a lot of men that I did not anticipate hearing about.
Oh yeah, no, I've heard a lot of interesting stories about that. But like,
It's
I
like they
get.
just hear like the mommy voice in the movie. It's like, I know. And they're like, crush me.
Oh, yeah. Like I don't really get it, especially like when like the only difference in their like gender according to like the rest of the builds is that they're blue. That's like the only difference. They're not built any
Mm-hmm.
differently or whatever. But I guess you can just say, all the Gamma Tauren that we got to know all had really really nice personalities, and
Mm-hmm.
so maybe
They
they're
were
like,
really sweet.
yeah, they're all really really nice and really cute. Like they're all like, yeah, like I don't know, like as a kid, like usually like there's kids are just like, female character, I want the boy character. It's like, yeah, no, I like them all. Like they're all like really really sick.
Yeah.
They're all cool.
Yeah.
So I guess maybe some of them were like just kind of like self projecting what they wanted in a partner when the person is repressed, and they're like, well, I want Maku, even though she's with Huki, or I want Holly, even though or something. And then they're just like, okay, time to like add,
Yeah.
human features to them.
I guess so. I
I
mean, like
don't
I
know.
made like a whole stop motion when I was like really young with like a VHS camera
Oh,
of
nice.
Tahu and Gali Nuva getting married. So it makes sense, I guess.
I think, yeah, it's just kind of like bound to happen, I guess, of like human thought process. I don't know. I don't
Yeah,
understand our
I
species,
guess.
but like, I don't
I
know.
do really agree with like the perspective of like guys that usually would never want the girl characters because they're girls would actually want the girl characters in their repertoire because Bionicle made them not like what's the word? They're not Barbies. They're
Mm-hmm.
they're 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 cool, but
Yeah.
like still effeminate. I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah, like I mean, like it would kind of be like I can't really say it was like subtle through design because like I mean obviously you look at like the Mari, like you wouldn't guess that Holly was a
Yeah, no.
woman, and you wouldn't guess that she was a woman in '06 when they gave her like a big mustache, big hose thing on her
Yeah.
face. Like
Yeah.
I think I get it really just comes down to show that like if you write really good characters, people don't really care who they are. I guess again, like to kind of go back to the boys thing, like
Yeah.
they would have like bias, like, oh, it's the girl character. I don't want the girl character, but it's like, yeah, most people that I knew, I didn't know anyone that didn't want them because they were girls. Like they were just like, yeah, they look cool. They're cool in the story. I want to have them on my
Mhm.
shelf. I want to have them fight my Makuta. Like just something like that. It's just good
Yeah.
writing. I think that's just really the answer to it, or just like, yeah, it's just something as simple as that. But I mean, there were also a lot of people that like didn't know that they were girls when they bought them. Like I remember,
Oh.
yeah, like like I remember people. I think it was like Six Shot reviews or something, or somebody like that like found out. Oh wait, no, it was Lego Mation Studios. I'm referencing like OGs here. I think he
Oh,
said,
damn. Okay.
yeah, yeah. I think he said that he only found out like Golly was like a girl based off the story or something. I don't know, but like, yeah. So I think that
Sounds like a
came into
bad
it.
date gone wrong. That thing's a girl.
Yeah, yeah, no, yeah, I guess so. But yeah. So again, I think not to go on a rambling thing. That's like, but I think it's just because they were really, really good characters and they had really great character design, and people didn't care for what they were. Again, it kind of reflects a
I
little bit
guess
in
so.
today's society. I think it's just a good little lesson. You know, people got to learn from
Maybe.
Bionicle.
I think so. There's like the shtick of like, because most of the time, like as I'm referencing like anime again, like most people would want the girl characters because of how desirable they are, and it kind of would say something about who you are. Versus like with Bionicle, where the girl characters are desirable because of who they are, not what they look like, but also what they look like because damn, did you see Golly like kicking a Tarakava's ass? That's like she's so cool.
Yeah, yeah, man. Like, I guess so. I mean, like, even like, I don't know to reference some Bionicle story, but like, out of the solo was like obsessed with like no comma because I don't know, really, it was like the teacher relationship or something. It was
Yeah.
yeah, something like
Yeah.
that, you know. So yeah, I don't know. It's funny and it's interesting just to look at it from like that type of perspective. But yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, I'm not really. I don't want to lose my train of. I don't want to lose my rhythm here. I feel like I'm gonna lose my rhythm. So we're gonna we're gonna move on from the female.
All right.
But yeah. Do you ever?
No horny in this chat.
Let's talk about the animals. How do you like the animal builds themselves? Especially
Oh
using a lot
man.
of technic. The Rahi.
Okay. It's how do you explain this? Okay, so if you were to look at them objectively without any context of what they are, they're dumb. But I think that they're gorgeous because the whole entire concept of basically taking the scrap pieces and making creatures out of them, I think is genius. And not only that, but it kind of like makes it so that like the whole entire like the people that made Bionicle, they're so freaking smart. Where the whole concept of like ensuring that you never gravitated towards considering a single piece as only a piece for one purpose and always would have it as just a thing that could be used for whatever it fits the bill, pun intended, because like Golly's hook, I keep on going back to Golly apparently for some reason. Like Golly's hook is the bill of a bird.
Yeah.
Like how would you like nobody would come up with that unless you're literally thinking in a very particular way about like how to experience your world in a way that is not restricted by format or um culture. I don't know, like predisposition. And also at the same time, like I also like the Bionicle game on Game Boy was the first game that I ever played, and you're fighting all the you know beasts in that. And that also makes it so that I have like a little bit of an added connection to it, that I enjoyed just because I would see the little creatures and like, oh my gosh, it's the spider from like the very beginning of Bionicle. I didn't get the first Bionicles. I started at the Borak, but look at this little Fiku spider. Look at him go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. They made so much use out of those parts, man. Like now that you really say it, like. I also do like the Rock'em Sock'em kind of robot kind of gimmick that I mean, it was on for like the first 3 years, honestly, but like they it was a big focus of '01 with like the Toa, but like obviously with the Rahi as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just replying to my dad real quick.
All good. I can talk. Manas, though. I wanted a Manus.
Oh yeah.
I wanted the crabs. I wanted the crabs growing up, and I never got them. But I had a friend that had them, and There is like I actually there's this guy that I watch on YouTube that has like these opinions on, trust me, this is relevant. That has this
Yeah, no, that
that
sounds good.
has these opinions on video games that I tend to disagree with.
Mm,
However, there's some relevance to be had to them where he'll have this desire to see a mechanic in a video game be taken to its extreme in every single possible way just to see what's possible within that singular mechanic, whether, and the one that he used as an example was like block puzzles. How many different ways can you make a block puzzle to make it interesting? And like Bionicle Rahi had like that same energy of like, how many ways can you make these different pieces that have no connection to each other interesting? How can you make it so that they have mechanics that are cool? How can you like the whole Rock'em Sock'em Tarakava? And then like I would like argue that like the apex of that would probably be like, you know, the bigger sets that were like the bull and the lion and the crabs, where they took like all of the ideas of what they interpreted as these creatures to the extreme instead of trying to literally just make these creatures as accurately as possible. Because, you know, like if we were to use what is the new system called that the G2 used?
oh, CCBS, I think. Yeah.
CCBS. Yeah. If you were to make like a Tarakov out of CCBS, it just wouldn't work. You were to try and make like the bull, the Kenrak, the bull and the tiger. I can never remember the
Oh,
names.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
Kanera and Milwaukee.
Yeah, Kanera and Waka. If you were to try and make those out of CCBS, again, it wouldn't work. You
Yeah,
couldn't
no.
do it. You'd just make a thing that obviously is a creature that is represented by bricks as opposed to its own creature in itself. And I think that that's just really cool.
Yeah, I also really love how they're like primarily just like Technic kind of stuff because you gotta remember like this was like the first
Mm-hmm.
year they had to make a bunch of new molds for the masks and the bodies and all
Mm-hmm.
that. Like people that say like, oh well, Bionicle can't come back now because it costs too much money to make new molds. It's like, well, they shelled out a lot of new molds back then, back when they were going bankrupt. I
Yeah.
know like plastic thing prices were different and all that, yada yada yada,
Well,
various
kind
ways.
of, but the beauty of it was that like they had all these Technic sets that they were trying to sell and then they couldn't sell because they were like bikes and
Yeah,
and I don't know, like vehicles and whatnot, and the vehicles just for the most part weren't selling, and so they took all these parts from the vehicle builds and it's like, oh shoot, what do we do? I don't know. Make a bird.
yeah,
Congrats, you have a go fly.
wouldn't fly. Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
What's your opinion on the combiners for the Rahi?
Oh,
Some of them were
um
cool, some of them were kind of wacky.
I feel like well, okay, so for the time they were clearly a rushed concept that if utilized now with the same pieces could easily have been like, I feel like it was an underdeveloped concept that could have made something very special nowadays. I've had like this I talked to Callan about this like years ago where I'm like, what if the fans actually like went to Lego and made a proposition to make Bionicle G3? And what if we did it like this? Where you would buy one Tahu set and you got Tahu. But if you bought two Tahu sets, you got like the actual Tahu, the one that's like in the commercials or whatever,
Mm,
which is the one that you want, which is why you'd buy two sets. It's why you would, you know, purchase more. That would be kind of like what the people that are making the money would like. And then if you like combine that with like a Matoran on top of that, then you get like the super armored one, yada yada yada, and all that sort of thing. So the whole entire thing was about making these combiner sets, and the whole entire inspiration from that would be like all of the combiner sets from the olden days because they were goofy, but they were goofy because most of the time they were pieces that were designed, not designed to go together, but they were pieces that were so hyper focused on working together as a set to begin with, and then as soon as you try and mesh them with another set, it gets very very complicated. But if they were meant to go together, yum, that could be such a cool idea that we will never see.
Yeah, no, that's actually a really good idea. It's not a bad idea. Like, yeah, no, I actually quite like that. Yeah, if there was to ever be a G3, I mean, we'll get to that a little bit later. I gotta ask every
Mm.
bio veteran that question, um, but like, yeah, like that would not be a bad way to go about it, especially if like the base set was still good, and then like you had, yeah, that would be really cool. Actually, I like that.
Mm.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. Yeah, I always thought the
Yeah.
combiners were like I like the Nui Rama combiner, the one that's in the Minogue animation, like that. Like that's
Mhm.
honestly, I might like I had because I have a set of the Rama like vanilla, then I have my other two like in that combiner. I might honestly like that combiner a little bit more than the main set, just because it's just a more beefier version of like the main one. But like I mean,
Mhm.
they're both still like really really good, and obviously now I can
Mhm.
recreate the scene from the thing now with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, like they were really awesome. Some of them were kind of weird though, like the Terracotta combiner. I don't know if you've. I mean, I'm sure you've seen it, but like it's got like
Yes.
a weird
Yes, I
funny
have.
position with like the arms, like they're upwards, and then like they don't really they punch kind of weirdly, like with like the combiner, not the main
Yeah.
set, but yeah, it's kind of goofy. So like, would you
Yeah.
just like use it to fight? Because I'm assuming that like most kids are not going to get duplicates of the sets just to make the combiner. So like, what would they do with that?
Mhm.
They're just like gonna roll it around, and just like punch things that are like above it out of because the Toa aren't that tall, so they're just gonna be punching the air, punching
Yeah.
at things. I'll just terrorize your little brother with it, something like that. I don't know. Some
Maybe punch the cat.
oh no, make it lose one of those 9 lives. That's not good. Like
Yeah.
yeah, something
That'll
like
do it.
that. That'll do. But like yeah, so like I thought the Rahi combiners were kind of hit or miss. The Toa combiners,
Mm.
in terms of story relevance, are really really cool. In terms of them,
Yeah.
yeah, like they were really really cool. But in terms of them actually being like built, you're like, okay, you're just gonna flop over and not gonna make me sad.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
I do not like the Tahunga combiner. I really don't. I know there's a lot of them in the comic, but
Yeah.
it's just kind of gross. It's not
Yeah,
good.
the comic was the first time that I got introduced to it when I like started hunting down all the comics, and I'm like, ooh, it's the Matoran comic. What is this?
It's just, oh, it's kind of scary, dude. Like, I don't know. Like, you look at it without
Yeah.
context, you're just like Matoran or Tahunga Nui or whatever it was called. You're like,
Yeah.
all right, cool.
It's like some Hindu LSD nightmare.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, it's got like a bunch of arms and stuff. Yeah, like
Yeah.
literally. But like, yeah, like so, like those weren't that good. The Turaga one was. I've only seen like one blurry image of it, like back on the back of the instructions. But like, I've never actually seen anyone build it. It's one of those things where people are just like, "Yeah, why would you build that, dude?
Yeah.
Are you
I
that
think
bored?"
what really kind of mattered was that like they're actually that probably is exactly. It's like the I dare say maybe this was their logic where they would make a garbage combiner so that kids would look at it and go, I could do better than that, and then actually do better than that. And then when they did, they were like kind of falling into the trap of creating something that was like actually superior to the original, which was kind of like the whole concept in the first place. And then they would take that and utilize that with more mocks in the future, and hopefully with like more things in their real life, which I think is one of the reasons why so many kids liked Bionicles, uh or so many adults like look fondly of the Bionicles that they had if they had them, because they're like, a lot of the way that I think stems from like this moment. I would argue, because I mean, like, uh regardless of like the perspectives you have on like the Bionicle community as a whole, there are some of the most intelligent people I have ever met or even like come across that had their origins come from Bionicle, or that are still in like the Bionicle community heavily and utilize their talents in that field with just a fervor that you know parallels some of the uh I wouldn't say greatest minds ever, but like the greatest minds of the normal person.
Yeah,
It's
no, I know what you're
impressive, I
saying.
think.
No, I definitely agree. And like like I was a Metal Gear fan during that drought. Now the franchise is kind of getting revived, so now more people are kind of getting more into it. I've gotten some friends into it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like I like that's like really the only other franchise I could kind of compare to where it's like, okay, you guys had a huge drought, you know, for almost 9 years. No pun intended, but like, and there was kind of a similar thing, but it was still like obviously like Metal Gear is like much bigger brand than Bionicle is
Yeah.
definitely now. But like
Yeah.
that was like kind of like the only one where I was like, okay, like you're kind of like you know poking at the ceiling a little bit, like you're kind of almost there, but it's like not really. It's like with Bionicle, it's like now there's a lot
Yeah.
of us, and there's so many talented people. Like it's kind of crazy. Like it's a lot of artists kind of come from it. A lot of storytellers for sure. Like I know, definitely
Mm-hmm.
Bionicle definitely contributes to my writing a lot. Like it's just
Mm-hmm.
I can't even like control it. It's like an autism thing or something. I can't tell you. Like it's just
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just like there's that has to be like the explanation. Like there's no other explanation to it. But like I
Yeah.
don't know. It triggers the neuron activation. I say this a lot, but it triggers the neuron activation. You're just like, okay, Bionicle, that funny, that reminded me of this. I'm gonna keep doing this, and I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just I think a lot of people kind of use it as like doodling in another medium, if you know what I mean. Like because people,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, like if I had to say like what it kind of is, if I had to summarize it like that, it would be like just I don't know, like people like some people that don't usually draw just like, I don't know if they're getting a tick or something, they start drawing on their worksheet. You know, it's like that, but I think just like on a bigger scale with a more hyper specific group of people that grew up with it. But
Yeah.
yeah,
That's a weird way of thinking of it. That's actually really cool. Like drawing in another medium is mocking. That's actually I've never heard that, and I think that's one of the coolest things I've ever heard.
oh well, no, well, thank you, no, I appreciate it. But yeah, like that's really what it is to me. Because I mean, like no one's ever gonna be like, oh, my doodle's gonna be like this art masterpiece, or at least I don't think it is. And then sometimes, very rarely it does. And things can happen,
Mm,
anything's possible. But like
mhm,
they kind of take the same approach of like mocking. Like obviously it might go further than just a doodle because there's some really talented mock creators out there. And then there's some guys that like revisit a mock like over the course of like a very long time because of either time constraints or they're
mhm.
just like I can make this better. I can make this better. They just keep going back and forth. It's like insanity. But like yeah, yeah, I don't know. And I feel like yeah, like again, you definitely hit the nail on the head earlier, which is like it again. It's something that I think I want to say I thought of, but like I think it's like crossed my mind like once or twice. But it's like I feel like they definitely did kind of make them. So it's like okay, are you gonna add to them or something? Because I mean I think the prime example of that was kind of like with the Nuva, where it's like they even use like the same torsos, but they put like the armor shell on it. They have the same shoulders,
Mhm.
but they put the armor on it. They're showing you like things that you can do to stack. Like obviously CCBS is just pure stacking. CCBS has its uses. I'm not completely dissing CCBS, but it's like that was kind of like where that kind of idea came from, where it's like, oh, you can add onto the pieces that already exist. Like, again, just adding to that little thing with the marketing. Again, strategically
Mhm.
well done. The guys that did all this stuff have ruined my life, so there you go. Uh, but yeah, no. But yeah, in terms of
Checks out.
combiners, are there any ones that are like your favorites from O1?
Um, I guess Weruha,
Yeah,
Wiggledy Biggledy.
Wiggledy. Yeah, that's a
But
good one.
again, that was exclusively just because of the story. However, I one last thing before we transition, because of what
Mm.
you were saying, I was holding on to something because I
Okay.
there was a part where you were like referencing the like connection of like how like yeah, mocking and whatnot had like a value and like the story and all that. But like also there was this shtick of like Bionicle had this thing for like how people were inspired because there was like an intimate connection with it. Cause like with
Oh yeah.
most franchises growing up, there'd be the thing of like, you gotta collect the crystals. Oh, or like get the MacGuffin, get the 8 pieces of heart or whatever. I don't know. Like all these things that are like, get this thing that we're going to tell you is valuable because we need something. Whereas, like, collect the masks, collect the part of you that causes you to exist that also hides who you are
Yeah.
behind a talent.
Yeah.
Cool. I think that's like that like jump, that paradox in between like creating a MacGuffin that also is like a body part, but it's also of a robot that is also organic. Like having all these connections that make it so that you can no longer like draw lines between every single separate concept, and instead they actually all morph together in this massive web that is designed to like be the equivalent of like taking two phone books and like slapping them together page by page and then trying to rip them apart with two tanks. You can't do it. It's one piece now.
Yeah. No.
Anyways, as you were saying.
Cool. Yeah. No. No. I think that was cool. I think that was really cool. When you said piece by piece, the freaking movie popped in my head, brick by brick. But I don't know. But yeah. So we're gonna shift from the what inspired to the for the inspiration to what you put to work back when you were making the iBIONICLE content.
The good old days.
The good old days, the golden days. So for inspiration and beginnings,
they weren't golden for me.
Oh yeah, no. Well, we can get into that a little bit if you want, but like,
sure.
yeah, no, I don't want
good stuff first. Good stuff first.
I don't want to like force you to remember anything bad.
Don't worry, don't worry. I'm totally open to talk about it fully. It's not like a traumatic experience.
Yeah, no. I just thought I'd do you the courtesy, but you know what? Fuck it. You know, trauma.
Thank you.
Let's do it.
Yay!
Yeah. So what like inspired you to start the channel, and like how did you kind of develop your passion for Bionicle like storytelling?
Oh boy. Okay. So, so to start off, my dad got us like a VHS camera back when we were little, and he used it predominantly for like, memories and all that, because my mom was like, we have to have memories. But
Yeah,
then,
no,
we recorded like 5 things with it, and then me and my brother took to making videos with it. And the videos were dumb. Who would have guessed? We're like 5. And but then we would use actually hold on. Yeah, but then we would get the Bionicle sets, and then we would watch, like, we would play Modanui online game, and then we'd also watch the Borak call animations that came after that. And that inspired more me than him to make stop motions. But we still did it like synonymously to like, but we'd use like, I'm sure that like there are a handful of people that understand this, where the VHS recorder, the VHS camera, you literally would have to like click the start button and click the stop button really, really fast in order to get the stop motion to work. And it would have to be like a trick. And if you did it wrong, it's busted forever and there's nothing you could do. You'd have to start the whole project over. So that's where the animation thing came from. And then my dad got like a MacBook laptop back when they were like white and bricks, and we saw iMovie for the first time, and he was actually he made a little stop motion with a Green Army Men tank, and did it through iMovie, like the old iMovie. Yeah. And he would and then when he did that, I wanted to do it later, but we'll rewind a little bit, because actually no, never mind. We'll not rewind. We'll fast forward, because I like during the time that like I saw that like tank stop motion that he did, because it was like 2 seconds maybe, but it was 2 seconds of so that's how you do it. And then I made a bunch of like Lego stop motions. I made like a Lego stop motion to the prologue of Braveheart that I think is lost to time.
Lost iBionicle media.
Yeah, there's a couple others in there. Oh, there was also one that was like it wasn't Johnny Thunder, but it was like some character that I made that it was inspired by Johnny Thunder, that was like in knight armor that fought another guy in the jungle and yada yada. And there was a bunch of stop motions that never came to be, that were just me having fun. But then I was at the perfect age to watch Fred and be entertained. So I watched Fred and I was entertained and I was like, wait a minute, I've been making videos for far longer than this idiot has. I could do that. And so I took to YouTube and started making Fred parody videos. When
Um,
there was a dark time.
I think we all have that
But
phase, unfortunately.
yeah, there's that weird thing that everyone has to admit that like anyone that's created anything started from the most cringiest of places in one way or another.
Yeah.
But uh, goodness, now I'm curious. Where did you? What got you to start? I'll,
What got
I'll
me to
pause my
start?
story. Hold
Oh
on,
no.
because if everyone has a cringy beginning, I gotta know
You gotta know
yours.
mine? Oh man. I gotta like actually like think, cause like I mean I would make like I would do I'm trying to like think like when my first animation was.
Mm.
Cause like you see like the thing is
I
with
mean,
a
it
lot
doesn't
of
have to be animation. It could like be something further back than that.
even
Like I don't
further
know,
back than that.
Sonic fan fiction or something.
That's funny you say that. Um,
Oh no!
no, no, I'm joking. I'm joking. Yeah, I don't remember my canon event. Not gonna lie, but like I remember I had my iPod. I got an iPod, and the first thing I
Hmm.
did was like make a stop motion with VZOC, and it was in my room. I think I might still have the photos on that iPod because I would not delete photos for some reason. And of course, that would take up a lot of storage of my stuff, so that's not good.
Mhm.
So that was probably like the canon event thing, but like it was just like really bad, pathetic kind of not good stop motion. My iPod's literally flopping over as I do it, like that type of thing.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
inconsistent lighting, things like that. Um,
Yeah.
but like, yeah, like I mean, I would like, again, I'm really. I've repressed all this stuff so much that I can barely even remember it now.
I'm unlocking the
Yeah, this
memories.
is like a therapy session now. I don't like this. I I mean, me and my friends, we would do dumb stuff a lot, and we would make really dumb skits that would probably definitely not go over well, with a lot of people. But like, that's the type of stuff what we did, and that's the stuff that I don't do anymore. So we'll leave it at that. But like, yeah, it was like too much exposure to forest fire and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Goodness.
yeah. So it'd be a lot of like
There's
minifigure stop motions like that. There's just like really bad forest fire ripoffs. It's yeah. Never
there
uploaded
will be
any of them.
nothing that makes me so happy to think that they blew up with the duck song. And if you watched any of the rest of their videos, it was them screaming at each other in the basement and Batman having a cocaine addiction. I'm like, bruh.
He's like, yeah, sorry, Robin. I sold all that stuff for crack. It's like, ah, oh, damn it, Batman, you and your crack habits.
Is the fact that they actually had that as an ongoing gag, and I'm just like, wait a minute, aren't these the guy that we have a duck walked up to? Just like, wait a minute.
Man, that was yeah. I remember the day I found out that that guy was like the same person that animated that because he didn't make the song. I will say someone else made the song, but it was like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, it's like a I don't know, like that. The whiplash of that is like it's like a crazy 180 degree. It turned my head to the back of my body. It was like like that kind of whiplash. It's like
Yeah.
cute little duck song. Batman says "fuck you," just throws in 5 racial slurs, continues to kill them.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, yeah, fun. Yeah, it'll be
I'm
bad ripoffs
sorry,
like that.
Alfred. I spent all the money on hookers.
Oh God,
Goodness.
yeah. Oh boy, yeah.
That was a shock to the system. The funniest part is I'm sure that that was like an introduction series of like because like my parents would see me like, oh, he's watching those Lego animations again,
Oh
good for
dude,
him, what a little
dude.
boy, having no idea. It's like, Batman, where are the cocaine?
You see, my mom was smart. She would like force me to like listen to it without headphones, so she would know what I'm watching. I
uh
got in trouble numerous times, but funny you say that though, because it's like I was at my friend's house. I don't know if you remember this old Bionicle content creator. All of his videos are private now. You can't really find anything. Bionicle TV
oh
21. Bionicle School. I don't know if that rings any bells. If not, that's
No, it
okay.
doesn't.
Nah, that's unfortunate. He was like he rose up pretty fast for the early BioTube kind of days, you know. But like he
Mm.
stopped suddenly, and then he just yeah. I follow his personal page, but I don't think he knows that I follow his personal page. Um, but anyway, so I went to my friend's house, and he would so Bionicle TV 21 would make very like you know, back in the good old 2009 or 2010 2011 kind of era, you'd have a lot of like super edgy content being made by like 12 and 13-year-olds. um so I went
Mhm.
over to my friend's house, and we were watching them, and his mom was like, oh yeah, that's cute, and they're like, again, they're calling each other like and stuff like that, and yeah, just doing all like the South Parky kind of things. And then he switched it to like this it was like one of those like classic like jump scare like videos, and like so his mom was like, no, go back to watching the Bionicles. And then I'm like,
Oh my
okay.
gosh.
Go back to watching. It's like you have no idea what you just did, but okay, yeah. So yeah, that was a part of it, but yeah. Oh, I forgot to also add to the canon event Super Mario Logan ripoffs as well. I tried to do that. But yeah, I don't know if you know who
I
that guy
don't.
is. He's a
Nope, that one
yeah.
doesn't ring a
Well,
bell.
you don't need to know then. That's perfect. All right, we can move on
Fair
then.
enough.
But yeah, so that
Well, in
was a
that
long
case,
tangent. But
dude, it's a beautiful tangent. I was curious. All right, but then
okay.
like, okay, so uh, let's see here. So I made Fred videos. I made a lot of those, and then I was like, you know what? Oh, dang. Okay, so I don't remember the name of the creator. It was like one of the very first YouTube stop motion Bionicle people. Wait, like before I was there, he was
Mm.
one of the guys that like hit 1 million views with his animation. It was great for the time, and he had like one of the animations I remember that he did was like everybody all he got a bunch of Bionicles together and like did a race. Does that
Oh,
ring any bells?
yeah. You know what? I kind of remember that actually. I kind of remember that. I
Yeah.
don't know the video name, but I
I
kind of remember
wish I
that.
remember his name. Yeah, but I watched all of his videos and I'm like, whoa, those are cool. And then I watched a couple other uh stop motion animators on YouTube. I'm like, oh, well, that's cool. And then the guy that's like, Dave,
Oh
I
yeah,
want your
yeah,
salad.
yeah.
I love you.
Classic.
So yeah, so I just saw all of that and I'm like, wait a minute. I've been doing this all my life. I can do that. So a lot of my life or a lot of my initial like content creation life started from I saw somebody else do it and I knew that I could do it better, so I tried. And some people thought that I did, and those people liked it. And so yeah, I just started like slaving away at like my first little Bionicle crime pays and pain movie for a hot minute, just because I'm like, wait a minute, look at all these things that I can do. And it was just a matter of, first time discovery where you're using the tools that you have at your disposal to the best of your ability. And next thing you know, that got posted. And you would think that my rise to stardom in that community at the time was somehow like an organic thing. Absolutely not. It was completely contrived. There is no such thing as you got famous because you're good. You get famous because you're annoying,
Oh
and I
yeah,
was
I know.
annoying.
I completely agree with that.
Yeah, because it was like back in the day when YouTube had video responses, and I would post my animations as video responses to all of the big content creators of Bionicle at the time, and just spam it religiously everywhere that I could. And next thing you know, everyone would actually look at those videos and click on them, and next thing you know, oh, people think that you're one of the cool kids, when in reality I was just pretending to be one of the cool kids in the first place.
Yo, you had a great marketing strategy at such a young age. I gotta commend that. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Hey, that's what it is, though. Like, that's cool. Like,
I
it's
guess so.
I
Yeah,
almost
marketing
forgot that was a
strategy.
function, because I remember you
Yeah.
would do like the mock contests, and I was making a mock for it, and then I never sent it. But like, it was like, yeah, I was ready to make the mock for one of the mock contests, and then I was like, oh, yeah, I forgot to send it in time, and then they took away video responses like not that long later, like after those stopped.
Oh,
Yeah, no, I
yeah,
wish
rip.
I wish they still had those, honestly. I mean, like, okay, well, to be fair, people would probably abuse the shit out of them now because of,
Absolutely.
but I mean,
But
they were
maybe if it was
cool.
like better curated somehow, then perhaps it would actually be a viable
Yeah,
thing.
like
But
there's an approval
yeah,
system or something, like with
yeah,
certain
maybe.
comments. I guess this one, if someone just sends a video of them like something that's inappropriate, and then you're like, you don't, like, all of your viewers don't have to see that. You can just be like, okay, I don't want that to be on my video.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
It's a everyone constantly says like you don't want video responses anymore. Remember the reaction girls? And all I'm sitting there thinking is like, dude, most content is reaction content now. I don't it wouldn't be any
Oh
different.
yeah, no, like Jinx. That's how Jinx Reload got famous. He got famous off of doing like
Yeah.
My Name Jeff Vine compilations and being like, ah! I don't
Yeah,
know.
exactly. It's just like, ha 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 ha. My name's Jeff. Ha ha. I'm just like, shut up.
I sent it to the server, but it's the clip of like the Joker
Yeah, I
2019
saw
tapping
that.
dance.
I saw that. Because then there was somebody in one of my streams like, can you react to a My
That
Name
was
Jeff
me.
compilation?
That
I'm
was
like,
me.
that was you. I'm just like, no.
I used my one codec call on that one.
That's hilarious.
It was a
Oh,
question. It
yeah.
was a question. I couldn't get banned for a
It's true.
while.
Wait, that means you're a Metal Gear fan. You actually like understood what I did.
Dude,
Yay!
I referenced Metal Gear like 3 or 4 times in this podcast.
No,
Yeah.
you did. You did. That's why I'm like, that's like I just made the connection of like, right, I forgot that my stream text to speech question ask me anything thing was a Metal Gear.
Yeah. Do you also not see my Discord profile picture? Snake literally talks as I talk, dude.
Oh yes, I
Yeah.
noticed. I noticed the snake thing. I forgot my connection to the snake thing.
Oh yeah. No, yeah, no. Yeah, that's
My
right. That's
brain
right.
was in a different
Yeah,
place.
yeah. But yeah, no, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, again, that was a cool function. And you know what? Now that I think of it, that, like, you were kind of ahead of the curve of that one, because like nowadays, like, people would be like, I don't know, you look at like an Instagram comment section, like, yo, follow my page. I post a dog getting ran
Yeah.
over by a car, and it's just like, no, I don't want to see
Yeah.
that. But so I'm sure someone else
Yeah.
does. I don't want to see that though.
Yeah. I mean, like, yeah, once upon a time, advertising yourself like with no shame was actually a totally acceptable thing to do. And now it absolutely isn't, which sometimes makes me a little sad, especially when I know that I've created something that a community would really like, or I'm competent enough to accomplish something, but need help from a particular community. And when I attempt to like sort of outsource that attention, the entire community will just look at that and go, "You're the worst. I hate you. Go die in a fire." I'm like, wow, times have changed.
Yeah, because before it was a little bit more supportive. It's like, oh, yeah, that's kind of cool. You'll get good. You'll get
Yeah.
better. And it's just like, fuck you. Kill yourself
Yeah.
now. And,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have
There
to
was
put
like,
a
okay,
viewer
one of the worst
discretion
parts.
thing at the beginning of this video.
Beep, 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 beep.
Oh, dude.
Next, we're gonna say gamer words.
Okay.
But yeah, like there was one point. So I'm a huge Dragon's Dogma fan. And when I heard that Dragon's Dogma 2, the video game, was gonna come out, I'm like, or I caught wind of it far before anybody else did. And I'm like, I want to voice act in this game. I need to voice act in this game. There is nobody that is a bigger slut for Dragon's Dogma than I am. I need this. And so I was like trying to like hunt down all of like the studios that were involved with the voice acting and all that, and all the connections and shenanigans of that repertoire. But I also knew that like a huge aspect that would have been necessary to like get a fan to partake in the actual production process would be that they would have to have like some sort of like uh community recognition. And so I'm like, can I just like, I went to every Dragon's Dogma community that I could, be like, I want to voice act in this. But of course I didn't reference that like, yeah, I've been a voice actor since I've been like 9 years old. But because I would like sit there and just like toss out my voice acting reel that I had at the time and be like, this was my voice acting reel. I know that I'm competent. I really want to play a character. I don't care who. I could make funny animal noises. It's fine. I just want to be in this game. And like I would be like emailing the studios that were like actually involved in the production and the recording and the casting and all that, and got zero responses to no one's surprise. But also at the same time, a lot of really unpleasant hate from people that were in communities that were seeing that I was trying to get somewhere. And especially Reddit. Don't ever advertise yourself on Reddit. I didn't understand that code of conduct. Now I do.
Yeah, I tend to stay off there because I take showers. But like, you know, Reddit, I think I used it like once or twice, and I was like, this isn't my thing. I don't like this, but everyone else uses
Same.
it. I don't care. I'm not gonna do this
Same.
anymore. Goodbye.
I tried to get into it because I'm like, everyone like their Reddit is a whole entire social media platform I've never used. And like I have a Reddit now. And so naturally I gotta like kind of just figure out how to do this Reddit thing, because I was actually never mind. I was trying to get my own Alexander Empire Reddit page just so that I had that. But in order to do that, you have to get like Reddit karma, and you have to get enough Reddit karma.
I hate
and
that.
so you have to like, yeah, that whole shtick. So I'm like, okay, how do I get Reddit karma? And so I engage in communities and whatnot as best as I could. Most of the time I get kicked out of communities because Reddit's just not the kind of place for people like me. And I respect that, but also assholes. So many.
See, I made a Reddit account a year ago only to post on the Arkham Reddit. And if you know anything about the Arkham Reddit, it is quite literally living up to the name now, because people about a year ago, everyone started to go insane, and we're just like, so it all started when this one guy was, so I don't know if you played the Arkham games, but there was this big event.
I know of them.
You know of them. Okay. I'd highly recommend them. They're really, really good games.
Oh yeah, they look great.
Yeah. And if you like the Batman the Animated Series, it's basically that, but in like a video game medium. Fantastic. Right. Can't recommend enough. But anyway, there's this big event where like basically Scarecrow engulfs the entire city in fear gas, and then like this one post on the Arkham Reddit, it's like, why isn't Batman called the Justice League? Is he stupid? Question mark. And then that sparks a bunch of brain rot. Like, why
oh my gosh.
Like, I don't think you understand. Like, they started to call Killer Croc Killer Cock. They started to call Joker the Jonkler. They started to call there's this character in the first game called Officer Bowles, and like, this was a joke I always had with my friends. Like, I don't know if we caused this by accident or if someone else also picked up on it, but like the way that he says it in the game's like Officer Balls. It sounds like he's saying balls. So that started to go around. It's like, why is Officer Balls named Balls? Is he stupid? Why did Jason Todd get killed by the Joker? Is he stupid? But like, it's like stuff like that.
Oh my god!
And it's just like repeatedly, because like that was like a legitimate Reddit before. It's still a wasteland to this day, and I only made an account to contribute like a few things on it. Like, I will not disclose what account that was.
Stupid memes.
But yeah, oh yeah, dude. Like, it's, if you want peak brain rot after you play the main Arkham games. When I say main ones, I mean all the ones you play on console. Go to that subreddit, and you're gonna have a blast. Trust me. If you want to kill a good 30 minutes, that's a good way to do it. So.
Rizzle me this, Batman.
Oh, yeah, sure.
I've been gooning in the back of the class, so tell me now what's in my ass.
Well, God, that was original. You're
gonna have that one for free.
Yeah, that was pretty good. Yeah. Hey, if you're good at something, never do it for free. Never goon for free, Batman.
Never goon for free.
You're good at something, never do it for free. Never. It's like, what if you're only good at gooning? Well, I guess there are sources for that.
Listen, Batman, I never goon. I can't do it. Oh my gosh. That's gotta be on a t-shirt or a pillow or something.
There are no laws against Pokemon, Batman.
Anyways, please move on before I die.
what's your top 3 favorite videos you made back in the day? What are your top 3 favorites?
I'm getting there, I promise.
No, it's all good. It's all good. I've never gone this far of a podcast. This isn't what I normally do.
Never.
This is like what I say in like the PlayStation party, not on like the internet.
Oh, you're in good company. The kind of stuff that happens on my stream is I never goon for free. Oh my gosh.
I'm gonna have to keep in mind my next super chat.
Oh yeah, you gotta oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, that's gonna kill me. That's gonna kill me. That's genius. That's so genius. Okay. Top 3 videos. Let's see here. Okay, so man, okay, so there was like so many different like animation styles that I experimented with over the course of me making animations, which is hysterical because now that I look back at them, I'm like, just like everything with Bionicle, I can make it better. But at the same time, like
the Green Goblin urge.
Yeah, but like my goodness, like I'm sorry, a month per minute of footage, I do not have any interest in committing that much time or effort into making that happen, especially now that I'm disabled, and that would be like 1,000 times more energy. No. But I think everything that like my whole basis for which videos I liked the most were the ones that I was proud of the animation of the most. So my first one, the first one that I debuted with, whatever, Crime Pays and Pain, that one had like a soft spot, all obviously, just because it was kind of me doing a bunch of things for the first time and proving that I could do it and making me a happy little cookie. And it also was the one that probably had like the most cohesive fight scenes that I did, because I will fully admit that like I got sloppy with fights as I moved on in my animation career, whatever. Procrastination, I think that's the name of the one. The one where the one with Ganon in it.
Yeah.
That
one's
awesome. That one. Yeah. Well, that one was actually like so that one and the what was it called? The like 2012 one were both actually reused footage from the next episode of the Self-Mock miniseries that got scrapped because it was just too much work. So I took the footage from both of those, or I took the footage from that episode, and then I split it up into 2 different videos that consisted of the 2012 one, which was dumb, and then the procrastination one, which then grew into be its own animal, which was like the first time that I used like rotoscoping and all these like actual effects, because like I was using like the old not Logic, that's music, Final Cut. I was using the old Final Cut, and it didn't have like a whole lot of special effects compatibility stuff from when it was like way back in the day. I don't know if it still does or not. I'm not a huge fan of the program anymore. But I was like figuring out how to get all that to work in Final Cut, even though it wasn't built for it, and it was like, oh, all this exciting stuff. So it was also a pretty cool idea. I think, let's see, I think the second episode of the Self-Mock miniseries would also be up as the top 3, but that one specifically because like I took animation to a stupid level where I did animation in places that it shouldn't have worked, and I was able to like maintain consistent lighting in places that again it shouldn't have worked. There were so many times where I would color correct so many frames that were just the slightest bit off to make that flicker thing that a lot of stop motion has, and I would like be sitting there color correcting a single frame so that it would match the rest of the frames to go and do that kind of thing. Back when I didn't have like, just a studio of lights that could, and I also didn't have a camera that had manual lighting features and whatnot. So
Oh,
all that
really?
stuff was, yeah, I was doing everything with literal garbage.
Dang.
Um,
You had a really great
which is,
stage low. I was looking back at some of your old behind the scenes stuff. It's like I'm jealous of that because I'm trying to get back into stop motion. And I'm like, this dude had like a
mm,
crazy big stage. Like, I mean, obviously it was just made out of wood, but like it was, I don't know, like that
oh
really, really
yeah.
nice setup. Like, at least like from the looks of it, now you're telling me stuff, I'm like, oh, yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, from the looks of it, it looked really good, but it was like my dad made it for me, and it was really nice of him. And but the catch was is that like he got me these lights, and it's like, see, now you have lights, and now you don't have to work with natural light. But the catch was is that the camera what I was using didn't have manual exposure, so it didn't matter because the camera would flicker anyways, and I couldn't control it. And then by the time that I had a camera that I could do that with, I didn't know how to do it. And when I um, learned how to do it, I didn't know how to do anything outside of RAW. So the files would be too big to try and import them. And then by that time, the iMovie that I was using was out of date, and they had a new iMovie that you couldn't do stop motion in anymore, and yada yada yada. It became a whole entire
Yeah.
shtick.
Yeah, no, that sucks. That sucks.
Yeah, the world wasn't really cut out for stop motion for a hot minute, just because like the entirety of like uh studio grade uh anything was gravitating towards a completely different pipeline, so to speak. And so all the tools that were designed to be professional were more focused on uh quick garbage.
Yeah, yeah. No, like it's totally like changed because I remember when Dragon Frame was like properly like introduced, and that was a huge game changer for a lot of
I'm
creators.
not familiar with that. What is that?
Oh, it's I'm trying to think of like past software you might have heard of but may not have used, like Boats or
Mm-mm.
Monkey Jam, Sam Anime. Oh,
Nope.
it was basically like a super hyper professional stop motion software, and it would give you onion
Okay.
frames so that like and it would
Oh.
give you a lot more features too, like over the camera. You can like literally do all that like post production stuff, or at least most of it. And I'm not saying you can't do all of it, of course, but like you could do a good
Hmm.
amount of it. Really nice setup, super expensive. Like I think, yeah, it's still like a big price like upfront, but then you don't have to pay a subscription, so that's nice. And they would give you a
Hmm.
little accessory thing to like quick keys to press
Hmm.
stuff. But yeah, like that's kind of when people started to use like that, because this is also around the time of when webcams got pretty good, like because now like they're like proper like some stop motion animators, like the ones that are still around, some of them still like use webcams that are like either in 4K, like, which is crazy that you can get like a webcam that can do that, can actually look good, that can
Hmm.
look like a DSLR, like that type of thing. There's still guys that use the
Hmm.
DSLR, like I think Forest Fire. I haven't seen his videos in a little while, but like I think he uses like a full on, still like the professional like DSLR setup now, both Dragon Frame and all that.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I've never used Dragon Frame, so I can't recommend it or not. But it apparently makes life a lot easier. I'll say that. That's as far as I know. I'm interested in it, but like to make it really work, you need to have the accessory. So even if you pirate it, I don't think it works fully properly. If you
Oh.
wanted to, kill the
Oof.
seven seas, but like, um, yeah, because I remember when I would do stop motion, I would have to like set all the frames to like 0.1 second or something, and then like take away
Yeah.
the Ken Burns thing that would like ruin my stop motion. It's like, why is it doing this?
Yep.
Yeah, that
Yep.
that was lovely. That was awesome. Of course, I know what color grading was back then, so I just assumed like, well, they got like a good capture of the frame from the camera, so I'm just doing something wrong on the camera's end. It's like, nope, that was a post
Yeah.
production thing. Yeah, funny things you learn when you
Yeah.
go to film school. You know. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. No, but yeah, no, definitely backland. Like, I mean, you can obviously tell like the age, like some of the videos like that people have made, like they were literally working with like shoelaces and gum, you know.
Yeah.
But like again, the stuff that kids can do now, just like with their film, like stop motion studio. That's what a lot
Mm-hmm.
of like people I know like that are working on like Ignition 3 are using. Like it's I think it costs like a couple bucks, but it's like again super useful. You can do it all on your phone. It does like a lot of the similar things that like I kind of described Dragon Frame can do, but you don't need the accessory kind of stuff, and you can just do everything on there. There's also a version you can get on your Mac laptop as well. Now I'm really trying to pitch stop motion back to you. It's like, come on, get back, come back to it. It's like the dark.
No.
No, I'm joking. No, no I knew that ship sailed long ago. I'm not gonna bug you for that. Don't worry. Yeah, but yeah, the game has changed a lot now. It's a lot, and I say this for like even like short films and stuff too. Like it's like things that you can do now. Like it would cost like tens of thousands of dollars back when. But that being said, the expectation for a lot of stuff has now been risen as well. Like, cause now you can't just do like your little homemade little video on like your demo reel anymore. It's like, well, this doesn't look super crazy professional because you didn't shell out a couple $100s on gear, so now we're not going to look at this, you know. So
Mm.
that's the unfortunate side of it. But yeah, it's an interesting landscape, good old stop motion and kind of like I guess uh, indie slash rookie like filmmaking. Like it's kind of
Yeah.
interesting. It's pretty cool. Um, yeah, no. Let's go back to the guide because now I'm getting off topic.
That was a nice tangent. I
Yeah,
learned a lot about programs. I like programs.
yeah, no.
I recently discovered this. So the way that I explain it, and okay, so I'm not making a game. I'm not making a game. And
Oh,
there's this don't worry about it. There's this program called Smack Studio, which makes it so that like frame by frame pixel animation suddenly can become this automated experience that I have finally got my hands on, that has made me super excited to use it for my own projects that are like, yeah, just for funsies. And it's really cool to see like how people can like take style concepts or stylistic um, art choices from a previous era that was designed by um, lack of tools, or I don't know what the word is. What's that phrase where it's like blank breeds innovation? I don't remember what the name is,
restrictions or
but
something. I don't know.
yeah, restrictions breed innovation. But yeah,
Yeah.
like, but then like people are taking that to a new extreme where it's like, but we actually like that as an art style. We think that it has like lasting power. But if you want to do it faster with modern tools, you can now do it this way. I'm like, wow. So yeah, seeing like all these different stop animation programs that are like still kind of thriving is kind of an exciting thing to see, because I still think that stop motion is really, really cool, because it's like unlike a lot of modern animation, you have to be so intentional with everything that you do from the start. And
Mm-hmm.
that kind of breeds a completely different a different motive for the way that you get things to move, and you can see that in the way that it's built. And sometimes, I mean, the awkward part about it is that you can immediately see like the intentions of the animator uh right away, which kind of is a little bit exposing, and not always in
Yeah.
a really good way, where it's like, I'm making this because I need to make this versus I need to make this because it's what I live and breathe and crave to do, and that sort of thing. And you could tell that like right away from whether or not like the animation is this very, you know, um point to point thing versus like a whole entire flow of the experience.
Yeah. Yeah. No. No. That's a really good point of like the how everything has to be like coordinated from the get go because like 3D like I respect all mediums of course, but like yeah, because like there are some like scenes I was like trying to like I was like writing, and then I started to think about it, it's like I should not write this because this is gonna be like a huge bitch to animate. It's just like this guy's like
Yeah.
walk down a hallway, like there's people like working on stuff or like walking behind him or something. It's just like let me like take away like 3/4 of that, and then that might be like kind of realistic. But even then, it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. No, that's just
Yeah.
that's like the downside of working with the medium. I do think like the results, like no matter like the quality, I do think I like there's definitely like some type of a rewarding experience from doing it. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, like it's just cool to because you can't make your Bionicles move around in real life, but you can make them move around with pictures, and that's cool. And I mean, a lot of people
Yeah.
have now shifted to 3D animation, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So now you don't even need to own the sets. You know, you can't if you want to make a story of
Yeah.
Karzani, well, you don't need to buy Karzani anymore. You don't need to
Yeah.
spend a buttload of money.
You know, one thing that I'm suddenly realizing is that like, so I was about to try and like mention how like Into the Spider-Verse and like how
Mm,
that kind of is like the stop motion of 3D and how that like is the next like evolution of the medium in my opinion. And I think that it's really impressive. Why hasn't anybody done that with like Bionicle animations if they have the models? I feel like somebody should do that.
in what sense do you mean?
Oh, like so you know how like in like Into the Spider-Verse, like specifically like the way that they tween from uh pose to pose in a lot of different scenes and all that.
Mm.
As well as like the way that they utilize different shoot, what are they called? You're a film major. I also, well, okay, I didn't go to film school. I just my brother took me to film school and I sat in on his classes.
That's cool. Hey, there you go.
Dang it, not aspect ratio. What is it called when like you use different lenses that um will have different focal lengths? Focal lengths.
Oh,
Yeah,
focal
there
length.
you
Okay.
go.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Focal
like
lengths.
in
Yeah, yeah.
because in animation programs you can just make a focal length at any time, and Into the Spider-Verse like did that so very well for so many scenes where they'd like bounce in between all these different focal lengths in order to like do like all kinds of really cool squash and stretch things that didn't look out of place, yada yada yada. But at the same time, the scenes that were, you know, completely still and standard had their own way of getting the characters to bounce around as if it's a very well done stop motion, but kind of like in like the Lego movie, but the Lego
That's a
movie
good
has
point.
Lego people in it, but Into the Spider-Verse has people in it, and people are more articulated, and so are Bionicles are more articulated, so it just like kind of makes me think that like somebody could make a Bionicle stop motion in a 3D animation program like Blender
Mm.
and make it in a style that is kind of rivaling Into the Spider-Verse, because I know that the community has people that are competent enough to
You
make
know
that
what?
happen.
There is somebody that does that. They've done it with
Oh,
the original Toamata. They've only been like these little shorts. Let me look at the guy's name. It's like robot something. This guy's like an actual professional animator. Let me look.
nice.
Ro.
Oh, that wait a minute. I know who you're talking about. He does like the like he's been doing all the Mata, and like there was one where Pohatu was like bolting
Yes. Yeah.
across the desert and does some flips. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then like there's Kopaka with the shield. Yes, yes, that. Exactly. That. Never mind. I forgot that he existed.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, sir, that I forgot you existed. He shows up on my feed all the time.
But we
S
want
tier
more of you.
animation. Yum. We want more. How do we give you money when we're all poor?
Yeah, no, but I definitely agree. I definitely want to see people kind of take that up with Bionicle, and like
Yeah.
even there's this guy I'm I'm friends with named Agitation. He works with Amaha Nui Tales. They basically
That's
kind of
ironic.
they make they
Sorry,
make
continue.
they make kind of like lore videos, and they made one in like the style of like I don't know if you know what SCP is, but like it's kind of like this.
Yes.
Yeah, so like they made an SCP kind of thing about like these Onu Metro archives, and they used the guy asked me if he wanted.
That's cool.
Yeah, yeah. It's not. It's like. It's almost more. It's more like animatic, but like it's really really cool. He used my Metrotorn revamp design for that. Thank you for using that. I appreciate it.
Nice.
And yeah, no, like I want to see more stuff like that as well, because then you can get like the environments in, and obviously it's not as time consuming as stop motion. I say this as I'm trying to get back into stop motion, but like yeah, it's just this 3D animation. Like I know how to do it on a extremely like one brain cell level scale, but like to get into it, I'm just like, okay, this is just gonna take too much time to learn. I know how to do this other thing. I don't know.
Mm.
I don't know. We'll
Yeah.
see where things go. But like, yeah, no. So I definitely want to kind of see some stuff like that. But to kind of circle things back a little bit, so considering how like if you were if the timeline were to shift and you started to make videos like in 2024 as opposed to back in like 2009 or that kind of time range, like do you think you would have done the same kind of thing? Do you think you would have made as many, since like there's not nearly as big as a Bionicle community now for like inspiration and things like that?
I think the answer is I wouldn't be a filmmaker at all. Because I mean, like we grew up in a very unique time when it came to the film industry in general, and it was like a massive boom of like the greatest, arguably the greatest films that will like stand the test of time,
Mm-hmm.
and those don't really exist anymore. We're kind of I
I
the
agree.
way that I
Yeah.
explain it is like the way I explain it is back before the world was so connected with like telephones and internet and whatnot. Everybody kind of just like heard what was going on down the grapevine. Maybe some people read the papers, but ultimately everybody was kind of in their own clique of understanding of the way that the world worked. And then we all connected in this unified, like one directional uh pursuit of greatness that we all kind of did together as a species. But then once we hit that point and then we tried to escalate it to the next phase, the only way to make it go to the next phase was to make it so that we had like um uh curated experiences for each individual person, the modern like social media algorithm. But that is then making it so that we're like going from this unilateral concept of pursuing greatness in multimedia to just going back to our clicks of understanding. It's kind of like rather than it being this string of webs that are all going straight, it's like this string of webs that are all going straight and then becoming a string of webs again. So it kind of makes me think that I wouldn't actually have any equal sense of inspiration to make anything because I wouldn't have something that would inspire me anywhere near as what I had growing up. It just kind of, there's a lot of really cool things that people are making now, and it will definitely be things that people are going to look back on very fondly when they grow up. But at the same time, it doesn't hit the same, and it wouldn't hit someone like me the same. So I don't think I'd actually partake in the entire medium whatsoever.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, that kind of makes sense. I mean, like I definitely agree. Like the landscape has changed just from like the stuff that we kind of grew up with versus like what these new guys are growing up with. But like that also with like the current YouTube space where a lot of it's just now just clout chasing. It's not really like let's
Yeah.
go to a Walmart and ruin this old lady's day. Like that's kind of like what a lot of the content you kind of see
Yeah.
now. You say the occasional Mr. Beast thing or something. It's just like, yeah, no, like it's something that I don't really want to think about. It's like, oh, what if the timeline shifted? It's like, would I? But like, yeah, I don't know. I think I gotta
Yeah.
maybe agree with you. Definitely, yeah,
There's also a shtick of like we've been watching all of like or a lot of us that like grew up with YouTube are watching like our creators fall from grace, so to speak.
yeah.
And
I
the
I'm
younger
lucky so
people
far.
nowadays. Yeah. Yay. But the like a lot of the younger people growing up are watching it happen more frequently as if it's just a common thing that occurs, which kind of makes it so that like they see the rise and fall of somebody that they looked up to when they grew up, making it so that they might not be as inspired to partake in whatever it is that they were contributing to, simply because they knew like, oh, it's only a matter of time before they're canceled, it's only a matter of time before they're exposed as a groomer, yada yada yada.
Mm.
Which kind of makes it so that like if the time if I were to like grow up now and make videos now, um, well, I mean like the thing that I often have to emphasize to people is that before YouTube, I had social anxiety so bad that I like couldn't talk to anybody. I was terrified of communicating with most strangers of any age, whether they be kids my age, adults. I was a very shy boy. And it's only through like being an idiot on YouTube and, you know, clout chasing, so to speak, that I kind of like broke out of my shell. But for me, clout chasing was, you know, running on the sidewalk with a camera screaming, you know, the butterflies are after me. Versus, you know, hey guys, I'm going to go into this Costco without a Costco card and see how long it takes until they catch me. I don't, that's not what I'm about. And I think that if that was the expectation of what it meant to be something, I don't think I would have ever chased it. I think I've always would have looked at those people and, you know, had my nose stuck up being like, how dare they? They're those disorganized members of society, pish posh. Because that's the other thing about being shy is that you're in your own little head and just think that you're better than everybody. And it doesn't work out. So either I would not do it at all because I'd see that and be not wanting any part of it, or I'd do what they do, but to an extreme that they don't do it, and I'd be in jail. I think it's one or the other. I mean, knowing me, I think that's where I'd go. I'd either just like not do it at all or do it way too far.
Said the Zoomer evil timeline.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
Yeah,
that's
you
it.
Go. We're Costco guys. Well, I just threw an old lady off the top of this thing. I don't know. Yeah,
yeah, basically.
Oh god. Yeah. And so like when you eased out of making videos, like I understand like part of it was like the stop motion thing. Like I can even tell from like your early videos, like this is why I don't like doing stop motion. Like I have a feeling this guy doesn't like doing stop motion anymore. Like during that like shift, like how was that for you? Like I know you kind of mentioned that like, you know, you were facing some like issues and all that. Like I actually don't know too much about that, if not anything.
Oh.
Yeah, like so I don't want to like strike a, you know, I don't want to like make
my brother in Christ, I'm about to tell you a story.
Okay.
Brace yourself, get yourself whatever snack that you need, because this is not actually going to take that long, but
Okay.
it's going to be a roller coaster.
All right.
So the first aspect that I need to bring up is that so there are a lot of people that'll be like, why won't you come back to stop motion animation? You were so good at it, and or whatever, right? Which is hysterical because I look at what I made now. I'm like, have you seen the stop motion animators now? The stuff that I made is a joke. They've superseded whatever I could have made at the time. Granted, if I made stuff now, it'd be a different story, but I'm not going to do it. I refuse. But the whole entire thing, the whole reasoning behind any time that I make anything never has anything to do with the medium itself, but what it's capable of communicating. So I don't make something using a medium because I like the medium. I use the medium because it's the best vehicle to communicate something. So when it came to stop motion wasn't my passion. My passion was bringing these characters that I love to life and getting them to do the things that I want them to do. And so that's what I did. And it also wasn't, and then when it got past that, when they were alive and I could confirm it, then it was about making an effort to see how I could like communicate is a hard word for this now because it's where, you know, like when you're script writing and you've sort of built these personas, these one-sided personas, and you just sort of let the pieces fall as they may so that like a scene plays itself out organically.
Yeah, I definitely get that.
Yeah, that sort of thing. So I would just kind of do that where it's like, okay, I have these live characters now. Now I want to make a scene where this happens. And then I just kind of fumble through like, well, I know that a person like this would talk like this, so I'd say that. But I'm not like communicating that I'm not really like communicating the scene. I'm communicating my empathy towards this whole entire circumstance by making a joke. So that was the whole reasoning behind that. And as my time progressed in animation, I had less and less to communicate through stop motion. And the things that I wanted to communicate, I would actually need like a budget for, and I need time for, and I would need people to actually commit to contributing to it and all sorts of things that would make it so that like it's an actual like full on production, because the communication wouldn't be stop motion anymore. The communication would be community and business and all that sort of stuff, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
But lo and behold, people are flaky, and as soon as money gets involved, people get weird. So that kind of made things very difficult, because I'm like a person that will inherently only pursue things based entirely off of passion. And there was a time where I was, trying to do everything for monetary benefit. And honestly, thank God that I got disabled, because now I don't have to worry about that anymore, probably for the rest of my life, so that I can take that desire to pursue things with passion based off of that desire that I have to communicate, and just flow with it. It's one of the reasons that I like streaming the most, is because the communication isn't trying to get something across. It's simply, the communication is, I have opened my space up to you. You are welcome here. And I feel like that's a thing to communicate that can sustain and fulfill everybody involved for a very long time. And I really like that. However, as far as stop motion is concerned, when I started running out of things to communicate, it's because I started growing up. I was in high school and I met a girl. Now, this is really hysterical, because this girl was not like, oh, I met a girl and she hated Bionicle, and so I had to deviate from Bionicle, and I was so sad that I was giving up that thing that I loved for good. No. She did not care. She did not care one bit. But she was crazy. And I do not mean that lightly. She was clinically insane with multiple different behavioral disorders.
Oh.
And to the point where like my parents knew her parents, and they were talking to each other like, do not let your son date my girl. She's crazy. But her and I, we were adamant. We were furious. We were young lovers, foolish, gone with the wind. And it was stupid. It was the dumbest decision that I've made, that probably I grew the most from. Therefore, I won't say that it's something that I regret. However, my goodness, being in an intimate relationship with somebody that clearly has no intention of getting their shit together will make it so that they will basically pull you down with them, and it sucks. Yeah. And so all of the energy that I had, that I was like pouring into the things that I cared about, the things that I enjoyed, instead I'd pour into her, and she would just gobble it all up and then make me feel like nothing. And as I was sitting there trying to, be that preppy vlogger for the Bionicle community, and my PO box and the stop motions and the gameplays, and I had this whole repertoire of things that I wanted to do. And then at the same time, my parents were like, okay, so we don't want you to be a YouTuber anymore. It's not making enough money. You need to go get a quote unquote real job. So go work at Macy's as a store clerk, you garbage human being. So, having parents basically say, hey, the entire thing that you've been pursuing for your life, we hate it. Stop it. Combined with a girlfriend that was so clinically unbearable. But had great tits. So, as a 17-year-old boy, I didn't care.
Man.
It's like, hey, did you know that there's more to life than memories? They're memories. That's what matters, not memories. memories. I'll pull out my 60-year-old old soul for a moment. It's memories, not memories that matter. But anyways, yeah. You put all that together, and I had a bunch of like life circumstances that all started barreling into the same thing where like my parents had an expectation that I was going to go to college, and I had this girlfriend that was sucking the life out of me, not literally, only figuratively.
Oh no, not literally. Okay.
Yeah, not literally. I was a this was also back in the day when I was a sheltered Christian boy. I'm still a Christian boy, and now I'm just not sheltered anymore.
That's fair. That's fair.
Where yeah, where it's a whole shtick of like there was a lot about life that I didn't understand because I was kept in a bubble for so long. But it made it so that I thought that I was competent enough to endure and experience a lot of situations that I was not equipped to deal with. There's the whole thing of like, okay, to be fair, if I thank God for speaking of Christian, I thank God for the patience that my parents had with me when I was screaming my lungs out doing Bionicle Let's Plays because they were in the same room most of the time and they somehow tolerated that. Oh my goodness, how did they do it? It's beyond me. But also at the same time, it kind of makes sense as to why they didn't like it and they wanted me to stop because it was annoying. But the catch was is that like I like to make sure that people are always like educated on like the business side of being a content creator, where the passion projects are never the ones that actually create the monetary status. It's the consistent ones. So the stop motions themselves, they gave me a name, they gave me publicity, but all they did was basically advertise my existence. They didn't give me any revenue, which I needed to, pay for things like gas. But the Let's Plays, the vlogs, those were the ones that actually created consistent monetary revenue for me, which meant that I needed to pour more energy into that just to get by so that maybe I had enough energy to make the stop motions. And I did my absolute best, but then I made a terrible decision to try and date somebody with a bunch of behavioral disorders that I was not prepared to facilitate in the slightest. But being an egotistical narcissist, I didn't know any better and thought that I could handle it. Because like she was the kind of girl that would like go out, cheat on me, come back, and then victimize herself as if she was the one that was being taken advantage of, when in reality she would be the one that would, incentivize those situations. The kind of way that like it's really hard to, when girls get taken advantage of, I think it's a very serious thing. And to this day, it's something that I take very seriously. And one of the reasons that I take it so seriously is because I know what it's like to see when a girl abuses that power of what's the word? Getting away with it.
Yeah.
Where it is their fault. They were the one that was in the wrong, and then they came along and tried to blame someone else for it. And that makes it so that the girls that actually experience that kind of trauma can't get their voice out. And that is something that I am very passionate about to this day. I'm totally not tearing up talking about it. But yeah. So she would do that to me constantly, where she would like be like chasing forgiveness as if it's like an aspect of our relationship. And I would always like forgive her and be like, no, it's okay, I understand. But I didn't understand. I should have dropped her right then and there. But I had no idea at the time. Because then she would also do things like put me in a position where I couldn't really be emotionally independent. And those things about the relationships that are really complicated that most people don't really talk about, that when you're young, you wouldn't think that you would have to deal with these sorts of things, but when you're with somebody that is incredibly emotionally manipulative, it sucks the life out of you. And especially when they're also a cheating slut bag. So yeah, you got that. And I was not wanting to go to college very, very badly, mostly because I was like, what are you talking about? Why would I need to get an education, Dad, when I have this entire like career choice already lined up for me? Why won't you let me chase it? And I'm actually very happy that he didn't let me do that, because as a person now reflecting back on it, the kind of person that I would have had to be to keep that up is gross. So it's one of those like bittersweet things of like, I'm very happy that I didn't have the opportunity to chase um, uh, YouTube shenanigans, stop motion shenanigans, uh, live live shooting, live action shenanigans, because I also did a lot of that too. Um, and but yeah, I mean, like at the time though, it absolutely hurt because my dad was pushing me in the right direction. I guess my mom too. Both of my parents weren't my parents were pushing me in the right direction, but they were pushing me in the right direction for all the wrong reasons. Um, and it made it so that like, I felt miserable all the time because I had parents that would treat me like I'm garbage, even though the internet treated me like I was somebody. And then I had a girlfriend that would constantly like have my emotions like bounce back and forth from finally everything's okay, I'm very happy, to gosh, I'm miserable, she's emotionally straining me around again, but I didn't realize it. I thought that I'm just, being a good boyfriend or whatever. And then you try and, make a passion project in the midst of all of that. You can't do it. You just can't do it. And it doesn't matter how many people try and encourage you to get to that point. It doesn't matter how much effort that you put into it. It doesn't matter how much you try and shut out the world and just make it happen. It's not an environment where that sort of thing can thrive. And so instead, I was incentivized to go and go to a bard school in Australia. So I did that instead. And then I came back and did like a little bit of, a little bit of like one last animation, and then like the pushing for Bionicle G2 from like the YouTube community, but that's as far as it ever got. So yeah, that's why all that happened.
Yeah, no, I mean, thanks for sharing all that. I mean, like, yeah, it's not like, I mean, you made it seem easy to talk about, but I can, yeah, like, I mean,
Oh,
when talking about these type of things, I mean, like, first of all, this is a this is a Bionicle podcast. I never thought that we would get to the point of this. This is some good shit right here. Damn. But like, yeah, no, I do really appreciate you going over that. Like, that's really cool of you to do on here. That I was not expecting that. And
no, appreciate it. Thank you.
I've definitely had like a lot of similar situations that I'm not gonna get into because this is about you. But it's just like, yeah, no, I won't get into any further from there. I can definitely understand. I probably would have quit earlier if I was you in that position. So I mean, hey, like the fact that you're still pushing stuff out a lot, like even like while that stuff was kind of going on, like, hey man, like kudos to you. Like that's, yeah, we appreciate all you did. Good old iBionicle, iCarly, iBionicle.
Right. I skipped one part that I forgot that I was going to get into.
Oh, okay.
I'm only going to get into it briefly. Like I'm going to touch on it. So, I mean, the way that I explain it now is in a joke fashion, where it's like the Dragon Ball Z community is known for its toxicity. Nobody, and that's just because Dragon Ball Z is more famous than Bionicle. And that's it. Where there was I mean, like the worst part is that like I talk so ill of it quite often that the people that are my friends that are in it will hear that and go like, what are you talking about? What did I do? It's like, you didn't do anything. You're my buddy. I like you. But there's a loud minority of people that are either prepared to gossip about anyone in the community and slander them ad nauseum to the best of their ability, as if they're trying to expose Bionicle lore that you didn't know, or um people that are not caring about you as a creator, but only caring about what you created and treat you like a content goblin, a monkey in the circus, where it's just like, make the thing that I want to make or that I want you to make, where it's like, all I care about is my dopamine receptors being satisfied rather than your well-being. And so I'd like, explain that I'm not doing well. And they'd be like, don't care. When is Mocktow gonna say the funny?
When
I'm
Mocktow
just
gonna
like,
get the sprinkles? When's he
yeah,
gonna
when
do that?
Mocktow gonna get the sprinkles? When are you gonna satisfy my little need for my funny four little dudes do the four funny little thing? And I'm just like, okay.
All
um,
right. All
yeah.
right.
So when I had like, a girlfriend that clearly wasn't caring about my well-being, and I had parents whom, in a manner of speaking, weren't caring about my well-being. You put those two together, and then you had a very loud minority of people in the biotube community that were also doing the same thing. It just made me go like, I'm out. I'm out. I don't want any more of this. Get me out of here.
I mean, like, hey, like yeah, like when you got out, like, I mean, the space kind of shifted. Like, trust me, like there were still like a lot of Bionicle animators back then. There was a lot more back then than there are now. But like, I found like that was like when the space started to shift to that TTV sort of era where they were trying to like focus on other things that you could do with like the content. Like they did the podcast thing, which we're doing now, and they were doing the news thing back when there was actually like news coming out. They were trying to basically do what like BZP was as like a website, but in like a video kind of format. Which I could respect, but there was a lot of things that didn't go over very well over there. But like, yeah,
I
like,
wouldn't know.
yeah, no, it's probably better that you don't know. Um, but yeah, so I would say like the space shifted. So I think things lined up where it's like things made sense, like I mean like, hey, like who knows what would have happened if you kept going and all that, but I think this is still like, again, I'm talking to you now, so things must have turned out somewhat pretty good. So I'm happy about that. I'm happy about that.
Fair enough. Fair
Yeah,
enough.
yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I mean, like you're still, you're still making the appearances here and there, little cameos and such at good old IDS's
Yeah.
channel. I gotta love that. We always love that.
Admittedly, I did like there was a point in time where it's like if anybody referenced me as iBionicle, I already like I would like cringe and have like a bad taste in my mouth and like shudder because it's just like, oh, one of the people that want me to be a monkey are back. Dance, monkey, dance. And it's
Not
like,
gonna
oh my
lie, I
gosh, you're
did
the
get that
you're the
sense from
monkey.
you. I did get
Yeah.
that sense from you a little bit back then. I was like, yeah, I don't think this guy likes us anymore. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
talk to him about that.
Yeah, that's just like that'd be the whole entire shtick where it's like, dance, monkey, dance, do it, do it. And like when I wasn't healed from that yet, when people would approach me with that kind of attitude, I'm just like, I want you to stop breathing. Yeah.
That's
But
what we
it's
call
like it's
method
an okay
acting.
thing now. It took a hot minute for me to like get okay with, but like now that people I guess now that I'm separated enough from it, both in time and in personality, that like if somebody says like, "Oh man, I loved your stop motion," I'd be like, "Oh, thank you." It's like, "Oh, you ever gonna make any more?" I'm like, "Nope," and I can say that with like a confidence that I didn't have before because I used to be a massive people pleaser. The whole entire like shy thing, like it's normal to be like shy and also be a people pleaser because as soon as somebody gives you positive attention, you don't want to let it go. And now it's like, no, I've like I found Jesus. I don't need you to make me happy.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's cool. No. Well, nice little. I like the lore dump. I like it's good. I like that I learned new things out of these. These are really cool.
There you go.
Well,
Congratulations.
speaking of dance, monkey dance. What if if you had the opportunity, in maybe in a different medium or something
Oh, we?
that's something that's easier for you to like access or something. Like, would you want to revisit Derelict at any point in time, or is that just something that you think you're gonna leave where it is? Oh,
You cut off for a hot second. What was the question?
oh yeah, no worries, no worries. I was just asking, if the opportunity presented itself, would you ever want to revisit Derelict at any point in
You
time?
cut off again.
Oh no, okay. Let me just leave and come back real quick. I don't know what's happening. All right. All right. Can you hear me now? Hello.
Hello. Okay, we're back.
Hello.
Everything's
Okay.
easy.
All
Everything
right. Sweet. So, if you had
good.
the if you
Unless
had
it's not.
okay, I don't know what's
If
happening.
you had. Okay, I got that. If you had.
How are things now? Can you hear a full sentence? Okay.
The
Some
universe refuses to let you ask the question.
yeah. I guess it's a sign. Hold on real quick. Started to record again.
Everything broke.
You see it maybe it is the universe because I was gonna ask if you ever had the opportunity, would you revisit Bionicle Derelicts in any possible way or fashion or medium possible?
Oh,
Yeah,
it was the universe
yeah, it was the
prohibiting
universe.
you from asking silly questions. Okay, so let's see here. So Bionicle Derelicts was originally supposed to be a 3D animated series, kind of synonymous with the vibes of Red versus Blue. Um, and then that turned out to be way too much work back in the day when you couldn't get easy access to, you know, 3D models of Bionicles, and so you had to make them yourself. And so I made Moktow, and I'm like, I'm done. um,
Fair enough.
and then so when that didn't seem to be a working thing, so I transitioned instead to turning it into a graphic novel, and I printed the first copy, um, and uh, that was cool. However, all the characters that I would when I made the first issue of the Bionicle Derelicts comic,
Mm-hmm.
I if people aren't familiar with the way that I made it, it was like literally like I take the mock that I made, the Bionicle that I had, and I superimpose it into like Photoshop things. Um, which was really cool. And ultimately, now that I look at it, could be probably completely redone in AI way faster and not exactly better, but close enough. Um, but the only way that I would go back to it is if I was to make a graphic novel, because I just really like the old Bionicle comics, the old ones from like the Mata and the Mata up to everything that was in Mata Nui. Actually, you know what? And Metro Nui,
Hmm.
the everything up to before they like drastically changed the art style and got different artists and whatnot. I adored those comics, and I actually really enjoy making stuff like that, regardless of whether people are watching me or not. Just because like that's a whole entire like composition is something. The whole entire thing that I was referencing, like how a medium interests me because of its ability to communicate something, and comics can do that too really really well, and they can do it in their own fashion. And one of the things that think Bionicle fans got spoiled over were the comics, because then when I tried to watch comics or tried to read comics from other franchises, I'm like, what is this garbage? The composition is terrible. It's just a bunch of pictures that are just left to right. I might as well just be reading a book with words in it and people saying the words. This is dumb. Um, whereas like the Bionicle comics, it's like every page was its own art piece, and that really sort of was a massive developing point for the way that I just perceived visual information. And I love replicating stuff like that all the time.
Hmm.
And would, if I had the itch to, would if Bionicle Derelicts was a thing that I would ever return to, if I had the itch, it would be in comic book form. However, that will not ever be possible because I no longer am the owner of the mocks that needed to be in that series.
That's why you just draw them. Draw them. Dance,
No.
monkey, dance. Dance
Do
now.
you know how? Actually, you probably do know how hard it is to draw Bionicles.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's literally like you're making an architectural drawing, but it's a person. It's insane unless you have like the precision of like a surgeon than trying to succeed at that art medium, which some artists have succeeded at an incredible feat, and I'm so proud of them. Damn, look at the stuff that they've made. But I'm not one of them. I'm not. I could do it, but I would have to like spend 10 times longer making it happen, and it wouldn't be that much better.
All right, so let's go fund the Alexander Empire Patreon so we can make this happen, guys. Come on, come on, come on.
Joke's on you. I refuse to open a Patreon.
All right, super chats, guys. Come on, let's go.
Oh, well, shoot.
Dang. And you can have like
imagine somebody like dropping a super chat. It's like $500. Can you make the next Bionicle derelicts, please? I'm like $500. Damn, I actually could do a lot with $500. Okay, sure, I guess. I'd have to contact Little Brotherhood Studios and be like, hey, can I borrow those guys again? I need them for something.
I'm sure that they would happily send them back to you. It's like, okay, just give them back. They're ours now.
Yeah.
They're ours now.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Yeah, just have like a little separation thing. So then this is the catch, because people will forget to do this. So you will only fund Derelicts if people send a super chat that says this is specifically for Derelicts. And if they don't do that, then it just goes straight to your pocket, and you can just ignore everything else. I think that's a good idea.
There you go.
There you go.
But it has to be a one-time donation from one crazy person that's willing to donate like at least $500,000 for one episode.
Hey,
or one chapter.
Perfect. Well, we'll make it happen. We'll make it happen. I'm sure some crazy watching this video will stalk all your social medias and figure out how to do that. Be like, okay, when's the next stream? All right, $500.
I hope they're poor. Please be poor.
Everyone,
please be poor. Don't.
The cutoff is crazy.
Whale me.
Oh boy. All right. Well, with that being said, let's shift some gears to the present. So, what you're doing now?
You're dying again.
Oh, am I dying again?
There we go. Okay.
Okay. All right. So.
Yep, you're back.
Okay.
Yeah, you're back.
Okay, sweet. Okay, good. I don't know why it's doing this, but so the present. We are now in the present. What games do you like to stream, and what games are you like, I will never stream this? I can only play this from the comfort of my own couch and not stand and stream this all day.
Oh, games that I like to stream. Trick question. I usually never stream the same thing twice. I am in a very I'm in a very fortunate circumstance right now where actually, you know what, speaking of Bionicle, like the whole entire like inspiration of like people in the Bionicle community that like grew up with Bionicle, that are fans of the franchise, and how they became really, really competent creators in their own rights. I feel like that energy is very well reciprocated in places like indie game development. Kind of like for the same reasons that like Bionicle is cool, because you have to like, take so many different concepts and blend them all together into one final piece. And game development kind of has that same energy, but on a much larger scale. There are most people in the world that are unfortunately in an algorithmic slump on their Twitter feeds where it's nothing but hate and bots and porn. I am lucky enough to be in a position where the entirety of my Twitter feed is cute animals that I send my fiance, pixel artists, and indie game devs, and that's it. This has made it so that I'm really fortunate enough to be in connections with like the indie game dev community, so to speak, which that's not really a proper term for it, because it is so many different people in so many different walks of life that have no connection to each other, that are all making really great things, that I have had the opportunity to play a lot of their games. And not only that, but now there's like outlets where it's really easy for devs and streamers to connect with each other now through a bunch of different platforms like Keymailer and Lurkit and Twitter. So I will mostly play those indie games that they send me generously for free, and to try out and, sometimes test for bugs or otherwise just to enjoy because I just think they're cool. So there's that. However, I have had this issue where there's this game called Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord, where it's if you're not familiar with it, it's a game where you're basically a a person in a medieval Northern European esque uh, world, and you basically make your own destiny. You can start as a king, you can start as nobody, and you can determine the fate of the entire continent based off of your actions if you so choose. Or you could be a simple, trader of grain if that's to your liking. But like the people that are familiar with the game will immediately know that like there's a lot of very complex mechanics that are uh, able to be consistently enjoyed for a very, very long time, where it's kind of like you have these large scale battles and you're a single soldier in it that's commanding the entire army, and then you have economics to deal with and politics to deal with. It's kind of like all the best parts of the games that you couldn't stand playing because they're so boring, but you mesh them all together with a couple of third person combat mechanics, and suddenly it's to die for. um, um, and I have only played that game once on stream a long time ago when it when it first released, and it was pretty buggy. However, I've played it several times by myself after that, to the point where I'd actually get myself sick.
Oh no. Oh.
Yeah, but I've wanted to do some sort of long-term streaming event with that game, because I know that if I ever open it up again, I'm not seeing the sun until the character that I created in that game dies. And I feel like that would make for incredible streaming content, even for my own enjoyment if nobody is watching. But that also being said, the community that watches people play that game on Twitch is also a very nice community that I haven't really integrated with for a very long time, that I would love to touch base with again. So there's that. I as far as like games, usually indie games, and it's usually a different game every time. But at some point I would love to revisit Bannerlord and play it until I shrivel up and die. uh, but as far as games that are just by myself, um, uh, racing games, I think,
Racing
is the
games.
the best one. But it's a very specific genre of racing games that I don't really know how to describe. That it's not like hyper realistic games. It's not arcade racing games. It's like some hybrid in between the two that always implements drifting. Um, I really like playing those. I think they're a lot of fun. It's a very niche genre of video games. But I've never really felt a compelling to stream those games, because I have this shtick that I sometimes try to explain to people, where if I'm actually enjoying something to the point where I'm so engulfed in what I'm doing, I'm really not entertaining. I'm very boring, because I will shut up and stare at the thing, and that's it. And maybe my eyes will widen every once in a while. When I played through when I played through the Phantom Pain, uh, while I was incredibly boring to watch, I'm sure I was like glued to my seat, and my controller was like ready to crack from how tight my fingers were. But I would have been boring as hell to watch.
Yeah,
um,
no, I get that. It's
but
like
yeah,
watching like Taxi Driver or something. You're just like, oh, this is a really good
yeah.
thing, but it's like I can't like, I'm not gonna do a backflip because that would just ruin the experience. Like, yeah. Oh
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, like when you're like, in a streaming environment, then different games sort of facilitate to making that experience more fun, and games that make it so that I'm actually glued to the experience are actually not great for that sometimes. And racing games tend to be a really good example of that because you're like hyper focused on not trying to crash.
no.
Yeah. So there's that. I was going to go somewhere with that. Right, right. There was um there was that catch of like not only did I make stop motions, but I also used to make full length like live action YouTube videos. And um while I never have any intention of going back to making stop motion, there's always a tiny, tiny part of me that just sometimes longs for the experience of creating live action videos again, where you just go through random nonsense because it's a platform where you can just be an idiot and nobody can stop you. And when I look at all the racing games that I've played, the kind of racing games that I played are so brutal to try and like understand the mechanics of, like getting like the perfect drift and all that yada yada and blah blah blah, that they make it so that it's like quap but it's a car. And while it wouldn't make for great streaming content, I think it would make for a hysterical YouTube video just going through all these games that I've played that are basically tests of patience and humility. But then I had this idea of like, what if I like buy with the money that I don't have one of those like rally cars, like a really cheap rally car that's ready to just keel over and die, and then just start drifting around in that and make it as a sequitur to the me talking about the game that I was playing. And then why stop there? Why not try and roll the thing so that it just like collapses and tumbles and fumbles with me still in it? I crawl out, make one final statement, get a couple of friends of mine that have grenade launchers, and tell them to pop that sucker and blow it the fuck up. Because why the hell not? It'll make for great drone footage. So I don't know if that answers your question.
I think it does. I think you answered the question.
There you go.
This is something we haven't talked about, but like, you used to make a lot of music. Like, where can we find your current stuff that you make now? If you still kind of dabble into that here and there.
Oh, well, I don't really make music anymore. Like I said, same thing about like every medium is a form of communication, and I found what I wanted to communicate through music, and I'm done now. I did it.
Hey, there you go. That's perfect.
Yeah,
Nice.
but
Fulfilling.
yeah, if you just look up my name on YouTube, I think my music comes before my channel does. However, there is a playlist on my YouTube channel, I think, of all my music, if not most of my music. It's all over the place. There's some like singer-songwriter stuff. There's a lot of rock music and metal music as well. But if you want to like have things that don't involve words, that are kind of like soundtrack-esque, I just kind of made them available and free to download on my Discord for people that want to use it for whatever the hell they want. Like,
Okay. Yeah, no, I'll definitely download some of that using the videos.
yeah, I mean, like if you find a track that you enjoy from the citizen resources in my Discord, knock yourself out.
Yeah, no, I'll definitely make use of that. For sure, 100%, 100%. Because that's kind of
It's
like,
royalty
yeah,
free.
well, that's the thing. Yeah, I mean, like, I'm not making any money off any of this. Doesn't matter. But it's just like I just don't want to give people like the ads. But I guess YouTube's kind of forcing the ads on everything. So I'll watch something on my TV, and it'll hit me like a minute and a half with ads. And I was like, come on, it's like a 5-minute video.
Black.
Poo poo.
Yeah, I'm at the point where ad blah. Goodness, I mean, like, I could literally do a whole entire podcast about my opinions on the advertising uh climate.
Oh
It's one
yeah.
of the reasons why I stopped doing YouTube as well, is because the whole shtick of like back in the day, it's like, oh, your creator finally got ads on their videos. They finally made it. And now it's like, oh, soap again.
So going onward to the future, is there anything that you kind of have in the works that we should be looking forward to?
Um,
Just in streams, things that you're kind of like passion projects or anything like that.
let's see here. So I hinted at something and I didn't say anything
Mm.
earlier, and I'm not going to re-reference it because I do know that there are a couple of monkey whores that will not stop talking to me about it
Oh,
if I reference it again.
that's true.
But within the subtext, if you caught it, you caught it. So so don't look forward to anything. However, I guess there's I recently got into starting to make um streamer community events uh for just like streamers to get together and play games together. The thing that I mentioned before, where it's like getting a bunch of streamers together to play Titanfall 2 in a full lobby of people screaming at each other. What a
Mm.
great time. That actually was a tester stream for something that I wanted to do later.
Oh.
Where so Titanfall 2 is, first person shooter game, shooty shooty bang bang, and the lobbies max out at 16 people.
Mhm.
But Apex Legends recently made it available so that anybody can make private lobbies for the Battle Royale mode, which I think consists of 60 people. And so that is something that'll happen eventually, not in the near future per se. It'll happen when it happens. But once I saw that I could get that many people together and I was actually running out of room, um, and not only that, but the whole experience of getting that many people in the same room that all have beef with each other in one way or another, but all were very sportsmanly like to each other, all the same, and it works. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can do this on a larger scale. It can work. But I've been wanting to plan something like that for a long time. But yeah, so I had a tester stream to make sure that would actually work, and now I may or may not be planning streams of a much grander scale with several more streamers all in the same place at the same time doing the same thing, competing for not really prizes but junk that I make that's fun.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Now we're gonna all be looking forward to that. Or at least I will be for sure, because I'm now the Alexander Empire #1 fan. But
You're gonna have to fight some people on
oh
that.
no, that's true. That's true. You do have some diehards in your streams and in your servers. When I was spamming some shit in the Twitch stream, they were like, "Shut the fuck up, Ben! Shut, get out!" Like, I'm not even doing anything that bad, dude. I'm contributing to chat.
Yeah, I'll be full to admit that I have a lot of goblins that follow me and are not exactly the most couth individuals. It's a wild west kind of experience when you're in my chat. I will fully admit you got to be prepared for it, and unfortunately I do too, which means I got to like backhand a bunch of people just like you're dumb. Shut up. Stop it.
Hey man, long live the Empire. What can I say?
I guess so. I
I
guess
guess so. I
so.
guess so. Well, I think we'll end things off there. This was at about, I think this is like almost 3 hours. That's amazing. That's more than that's like about double of like what we usually do on here on like a longer scale. So,